Do you wonder why men seem to be interested in you at first, but then after meeting you, all of a sudden they're just not that into you anymore? Isn't it confusing to constantly be trying to figure out what is going on with these men? What if I told you that you're actually doing the exact things to scare those men off? But what if I also told you there's actually a solution to fix that completely? Which is why on today's live show, we're going to be discussing 7 behaviors that scare men off. That way, you can never make the mistake again of being the most unattractive version of yourself. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say you're present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome to the show, all you beautiful people. How are you doing? Okay. I like seeing all your beautiful faces. I see we got Rosemary here, Nikki here, Chan here, Gigi here, April here, Scotty's here. Of course, Scotty's always here, always participating. Who else we got in here? Is Sharice in here? Is SH in here? I thought I saw one of them in here. Brooks here, Angie's here. Okay, we got Morgan here, Alexandra here. Nice to see all you beautiful people in the TikTok chat. Now, who we got over in the YouTube chat? We got Ivy. We got Tracy Now's our channel members. We got Melita. We got Enlightened A, who's an OG. We got Cashley, who's an OG at this point. We got Noon as well. And I see Irina. Welcome all you beautiful people in the YouTube chat as well. I want us all to have a really good time today. We're going to have a really good show today. And we're probably going to go extra time today just because I love you guys so much. All right, so let's get started today. Now, first things first, I'll give you guys point number one. Point number one is separation Sally. Okay, now I want you to understand all of these points that I'm going to give you guys today are going to be concepts of the type of way some of you might present yourself in your relationships or your situationships or talking stages with a guy. And when you present yourself this way, it's very repulsive and unattractive to those men. Now, I know that you came here thinking I was going to tell you that the way you scare men off is because, when you say that your hair is blonde instead of saying that you're a natural brunette, that's what's going to scare men off. Or when you tell them that your dump truck is only 36 inches instead of 42, that's what's going to, no. What I'm actually referring to, the things that scare men off, are actually a function of how you think the idea of being more about him and making your life more about him is actually benefiting you and making him like you more. But I'm here to tell you a lot of the misconceptions that you've been having about the way you should present yourself to be attractive to guys is really wrong. Okay. And it's actually making your life worse because it's making you more unattractive to those men. So you're going to notice that theme throughout everything that we talk about today. So number one is separation Sally. Now, separation Sally is the type of woman who is constantly anxious anytime she's spending time away from her man. You want to know why separation Sally is so dangerously anxious anytime she spends time away from her man? Because she cannot imagine what her life would be like, or imagine that her life could possibly be good if she doesn't have that guy in her life, if she doesn't have that guy by her side. She's like a golden retriever that when her owner leaves and walks out of the house, all of a sudden her life is on pause. Have you ever watched a video of what dogs do when their owner's not around? They literally just wander around the house, not knowing what to do, not knowing like what their life is. They just kind of wait around and their life is on pause until their owner comes back in the house. That's why they're wagging their tail. That's where they're barking, because they're so excited that now they can actually have a life because their owner is back around. And some of you are a separation Sally where your entire life is just the guy that you're talking to. You have no life outside of that. You don't even care about anything else that goes on in your life outside of that. So a function of that is when your man is not with you or when your man is not speaking to you, you feel like you're literally thrown out of whack, like your whole entire life is misarray. Okay. And misarray or disarray, one of the two. And the thing about that is you're thinking, oh, I have separation anxiety and I'm a separation Sally because I just love my man so much and I just care about my man so much and I just want to spend, what's wrong with wanting to spend every moment of my life with my man? I mean, he's my man. Shouldn't I want to spend that much time around the guy that I love and I care about? There's nothing wrong, separation Sally, with wanting to spend time with your partner. However, in the process of having a partner, you also need to have your own individuality outside of your partner. Okay. And I'm here to tell you, okay, Tomisin's your friend. I'm here to tell you a secret. It's actually not a crime to have a life outside of the guy that you're dating or seeing. In fact, it will actually make you so much more attractive to men when they can see that them stepping into your life doesn't bring the sunshine and the light into your life. In fact, you have lots of things going for you that are interesting in your life outside of just him. That's actually the most attractive version of you. And the least attractive version of you is the separation Sally that is so anxious and desperate and shaking anytime we spend some time apart. So this also goes for you, because I know some of you are thinking, Tomisin, I don't even know why you're saying this. I'm not even a separation Sally. It's not like I care that much if my man's, I can go a week without talking to my man. I can go a long time without seeing my man. I'm not a separation Sally. I don't even sleep in the same bed with him. You're calling me a separation Sally. Separation Sally also applies to those of you who are phone addicts. I know you didn't want to hear that one because you thought you was better than the separation Sally I was describing. But a separation Sally is a phone addict. A separation Sally is like, damn, you haven't texted me in 10 minutes. What could you possibly be doing in 10 whole minutes that you couldn't even pick up the phone and text me back? I know you're a police officer, but like, what could you possibly be doing as a police officer that requires you to not text me back in 10 minutes? If you're doing a drug bust, it doesn't take more than 10 minutes. If you're pulling your gun on someone, you're going to make a decision in at least 5 minutes. You should be able to text me back. If you're a firefighter, come on, fires don't burn for over 20 minutes. You can text me back in that time span. For those of you who get really anxious anytime your man hasn't texted you for like an hour, or you feel really anxious or upset at a man who would do anything with his life that doesn't require him to text you as much as possible or call you all the time or constantly keep in contact with you. For you phone addicts, you like to text him while you Snapchat him, while you send him memes, while you send him Instagram reels, while you send him TikTok videos. You like to do all three at once. And for you phone addicts, you are a separation Sally. And the truth of the matter is, I hate to tell it to you like this because I know it does not make you feel good. I have to be honest with you. Being a separation Sally where you're glued to the phone, and as soon as you step out of the house, you got your phone's right up to your face because you got to message him, because you got to talk to him 24/7. I'm going to tell you the truth. That becomes very overwhelming for men very fast. Especially when you're the type of separation Sally that is constantly complaining about the fact that he doesn't text you more. The absolute worst thing you can do as a separation Sally is not only to be a separation Sally, but to be a separation Sally that is constantly complaining and asking him to text you more, or asking him why he doesn't text you more, or asking him why it takes him so long to text you back. Because the reality of it is, and this is what I want all of you separation Sallys to understand, the reality of it is, if he wanted to text you more, he would just do that. So a function of him not texting you more is simply because either he doesn't want to, or whatever's going on in his life, you're just not as important to him that he would want to or even need to text you back that much. Now, I also want you to understand something else. For some men, it's not even about the fact that they don't want to text you or talk to you. For some people, texting is not on the top of their priority list. Now, I didn't say that necessarily you're not on the top of his priority list, but for some people, texting is not and will never be on the top of their priority list. The men that you're dating, assuming you're dating a man who's functional, who knows what he's doing, who has direction, should not be spending all his days on the phone chit-chatting. Okay? Because he should be focused on whatever requires his focus in whatever he's doing. Assuming he works a job that actually takes some of his brain space and brain power, he's going to be thinking about whatever he's doing at that moment and accomplishing those goals. Because he's allowed, listen to what I just said, he's allowed to have goals and things that are important to him outside of you and the relationship. That's not a crime. I actually said that you should have that as well. The problem is when you're a separation Sally, all of these kind of snowball into each other. When you're a separation Sally, usually you don't have anything going on in your own life, which makes you even more of a separation Sally. But I want you to understand that as soon as you start doing that, you scare those men off. And you can even scare really good men off because they say to themselves, I just met you. I just started dating you. I'm just getting to know you. I can't spend every second of my day texting you on this cell phone. That doesn't mean that when we go out on a date, I won't give you attention. I won't be respectful. I won't compliment you. I won't enjoy our date together. But also the things outside of just you and chit-chatting with you also require my attention. But the thing about it is, if you're a separation Sally, that will be offensive to you. Okay? Did you hear what I said? And I want to stay on this for a little bit because I want you to understand, because I know some of you are thinking in your mind, I'm not a separation Sally. That's not me. I could never be me. But if you find yourself getting offended that guys in your life would want to do anything outside of you or spend time with anyone outside of spending time with you, like their friends or their family, and you're like, why don't you want to include me in everything that you do? Why don't you want to spend every second that you possibly can with me? If you find yourself in that mentality that you feel upset or offended anytime a guy will tell you that he wants to do something outside of spending time with you, then you are a separation Sally. Because the truth of the matter is, if you're not a separation Sally, then you won't be upset that someone just wants to be an individual, because the reality of it is that's not a crime. I'm telling you that it's not a crime, but I'm also telling you that it's not a crime for the guy that you like to want to be an individual and have some individuality. And I know that you think that you're expressing how much you like a guy and want to spend time with a guy by being a separation Sally. But I'm here to tell you, as a guy that's experienced that, it's not attractive to us. Okay? It doesn't make us say, wow, look at how much this girl wants me, that she wants to spend every waking moment of her entire life with me. It actually makes us think, damn, I got a lot on my plate to take care of, because she literally cannot survive or exist if I'm not there or in her life or speaking to her. And so for a lot of guys, it ends up actually not being a cutesy thing where they're attracted to you more. It actually starts to feel like a burden to them. Did you hear what I just said? I want you guys listening very early today, because I'm so serious. The men, when they come across you and you're a separation Sally, they don't feel more attraction to you. They start to feel like you're a burden to them. And specifically, they feel like you're a burden to them emotionally, right? Because you have to understand, that's a lot to ask of a human being to say, hey, if you are not speaking to me, if you are not talking to me for whatever reason, whether it be because you're upset, because you're stressed out, because you have things going on in your life, because you just have to have some focus in other parts in your life, I am going to lose my mind. I'm going to think this relationship is over. I'm going to literally freak out, and I'm going to be so discombobulated you wouldn't even believe, and I'm going to cause chaos. You do understand that for men, that becomes an increasing feeling of burden being around you. Because they begin to feel, if I don't speak to you, or if I'm not talking to you all the time, or if I choose to do anything for myself, this is going to blow up. This is going to, be horrible. Our relationship, she's going to lose her mind, and she's going to be so upset with me that I would want to do anything. So they start to get scared at the idea of doing anything for themselves. They start to get scared at the idea of bringing up anything to you that requires him to spend time alone. So then, you know what happens then? He starts coming up with excuses that make it seem like it's outside of his control, so he doesn't have to be honest with you that he just wants some time away from you. There's a very interesting, and one of these days when I get my iPad, because don't worry, I'm going to get my iPad so that I can show you guys stuff while we talk. One of these days, I'll show you guys a video of, and this happens on both sides, okay? So I don't just want you to think that it's you, the woman. There's a video that I've seen a couple of couples post where they're literally like, my husband or my wife, in some cases both, is literally following me around. And they'll be behind a door, and then their husband or their wife will come walking around the door, right? Because they went upstairs, so their husband or wife literally followed them upstairs. And then they confront their husband or wife, why are you following me? Okay? And those videos are kind of an example of a separation Sally and what it makes the other person feel. right? They start to feel the burden of you that, hey, I don't get to have time for myself. I don't get to have any time to myself because you want to spend all your time with me. And they begin to feel suffocated. And especially for the guys, when they feel suffocated like that, the only thing they think to themselves is, I want to run away. And I want to run away fast because I feel suffocated here. Okay? Remember, guys are most comfortable when they're in the position of chasing and pursuing. So the moment you start suffocating him by being a separation Sally, he immediately loses his ability to feel like he's chasing and pursuing you. Instead, he feels like he's suffocated by you and he has no space to be a hungry hunter like he naturally wants to feel. Okay? I know for some of you, you're kind of like, that sucks. I want to be a separation Sally, but I'm here to tell you that's one of the things that scares them off. Okay? Let me make sure I don't know what be with this chat bot. This chat bot always be liking to mess with me. I'm going to fix this chat bot. Let me see if I can fix this chat bot here in the YouTube chat here. Let's see if I go. I should be able, if I refresh this, enter. Okay, there we go. It just, I don't know why that happens. I have to like refresh it. There we go. Anyways, it's there. Now, so are you guys following me when it comes to this right here? Okay. Does that make sense? Right? Separation Sally's equal desperation Sally equals desperate energy. 100% Nikayla. I like that name, Nikayla. I like that. I likes that name. Okay. Don't be a separation Sally. It's very unattractive and it will scare those men off. All right. So number one was separation Sally. Number two, okay, these are all going to sound pretty funny to you, but I'll explain all of them. Number two is a miserable Molly. Okay. Now a miserable Molly, right? Kind of similar to a separation Sally, but in a different way. A miserable Molly is someone who is very unhappy with the idea that that man would find happiness doing anything else that is not doing something with me. Okay. Now I want to get very specific here because I know some of you might not realize that this may or may not have been you. You see, like I mentioned with the separation Sally, how there feels like you're being offended that someone would want to do anything outside of you. A miserable Molly is also very unhappy that their partner or their man find happiness doing anything outside of them. In fact, they end up demonizing or shaming them for finding happiness doing anything that doesn't include me or require me. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, for the sake of argument, your man really likes playing basketball, like league ball, okay? Let's say he's in one of these men's leagues, okay? And he likes to play basketball in his spare time. He was a hooper when he was in high school, maybe even in college. But now that he's out of college, he wants to, still touch up on his skills and be part of a men's league. You don't get to be part of the men's league. He's going out, he's spending hours at practice, he's spending hours at games with his boys, he's hanging out with them a little bit, going out to eat with them afterwards, right? This is his men's leagues thing. This is his time away from you. Now, if you're a miserable Molly, you're going to begin demonizing the idea that, why do you spend so much time playing this stupid men's league? You're not trying to be a baller. You're wasting all your time. You're going out to ball and going out to do this stuff when you should be here. You're spending less time with me. You literally go out to work and then you come back and you're barely even here. And then you're gone for 2 hours playing in your men's league. The men's league's not even that important. It's not making you any money. It's not doing anything for you. I don't get why this men's league is so important. And you're constantly complaining to him that, hey, you should stop doing this men's league. It's really stupid and it's taking time away from us. That's a miserable Molly, because what you're actually upset at is not the fact that he goes to play as a men's league, because that doesn't, do anything to hurt your relationship. What you're actually upset at is the fact that he is coming back smiling and happy, but not spending time with you. And you start to feel jealous of an inanimate object, a basketball and a hoop. You're jealous of because you can see how much happiness it's bringing him, except that happiness that it's bringing him is not coming with you. And so everything in his life that brings him some sort of happiness that doesn't associate you, or in some cases actually actively excludes you, now you're jealous. Once again, you think, oh, but I'm just showing him that I want to spend all my time with him. It's not that I'm trying to be a bad person. It's just like, why don't you want to be with me? Because we could be together and we could be doing so much other stuff. But the reality is similar, very similar to the separation Sally. When you're a miserable Molly, it only makes those men feel like I'm not allowed to have happiness outside of being with you. As if my entire life and my entire world should just be spending time with you with a Cheshire smile, cat smile on my face. I should have a clown smile from ear to ear, and my whole life should just be my happiness of being with you. And if it's not happiness being with you, then I should be miserable. Okay? And I know I'm saying this because some of you have been there. I know some of you are saying this. That's totally not me. I would never do anything like that. But I also know that some of you have been there. And even inadvertently, not even on purpose, right? Just the fact that you have built up this idea that the best way to go about your relationship, or the way that you should be going about your relationship, is that, hey, we should spend every waking moment together. And how dare you love to spend your time doing something else that's not us spending time together? And even more, how dare you that you actually have real joy and happiness doing those things when I'm not there. Okay. Now, this is also a function of not having a life of your own. This is also a function of not having hobbies of your own. This is a function of when you don't allow yourself to have anything for yourself, and your relationship becomes your identity. Your relationship becomes your source of value. Your relationship becomes your source of validation for yourself, that you feel like, hey, you and me are supposed to be together 24/7, and there should be nothing going on in your life outside of me. Okay? Right? And it's a very dangerous place to be in, because once you're in that mind frame, all you're going to do with all the guys that you come across is you're going to push them away, and you're going to scare them off, because they're going to say, I deserve to be an individual and have happiness outside of you. In fact, a lot of times what the guys are going to do is they're going to rebel against you, simply because you seem to be upset at whatever it is that's bringing him happiness outside of him. So rather than spending more time with you, because I know you're thinking complaining about that thing will make it so that he wants to spend less time doing that thing and more time with me, you think that complaining about that's going to help you and benefit you. But in reality, when the men hear that and you become a miserable Molly to anything that brings him happiness outside of him, he ends up saying to himself, I'm actually going to spend less time with you and more time doing that thing that makes me happy. So whether it be basketball or like a men's league, whether it be going to the gym, whether it be spending time with his family, whatever it may be in his life that brings him some sort of happiness or peace or joy, that is not spending time with you, and you're poo-pooing on that, or you're taking a piss on that, okay? And you're thinking that that's going to deter him from doing those things and motivate him to spend more time with you. No, it's actually scaring those men off, and it's making you so much more unattractive to the guys that you're trying to date. Okay? Does that make sense? Noveni says, guys don't like I have hobbies when they realize I prioritize my hobby over him. That's the thing, is that that's one of those things where I'm glad you said that, Novani. That's one of those things where guys will say they don't like it, but in reality, they chase the women that are all about themselves and focused on themselves. They don't chase around the women who have nothing to do in their life. Think about all of these guys' dream women. Ice Spice, she's a rapper. She's got shows. She's touring the world, posting pictures, not thinking about them, right? Beyonce, she's obviously married, but before she was married, she's singing, she's on tour, doing a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Jennifer Lopez, she's an actor, she's a singer, she's got movies, she's got stuff to do, not thinking about them. Even his favorite IG model, she's posting pictures, she's going to this event, she's going to that event, not thinking about them. Tyla, Base Beauty just said, she's singing, she's doing a whole bunch of stuff, going to shows, not thinking about those men. All of the women that men figure are their dream girl, their dream woman, that, oh my God, if I got an opportunity with her, oh my God, if I could just smell her seat, oh my God, if I could just drink her bath water, right? All of their dream women are women who are actively investing the most into themselves and investing nothing into them. The women who are like, oh, please spend some time with me. Please, I will literally clear my entire week's schedule just to spend time with you. I'll spend every moment I can. I'll text you all the time. I'll be with you 24/7. I'll be as available as you possibly need me to. Notice that the men never make those women their dream women. They only make the unattainable women who literally have no time for them their dream women. So I want you to understand that even when the guys, like I think it was Novani that mentioned this, even when the guys tell you that, hey, I don't like it that you have hobbies and things that you like to do for yourself, in reality, they end up chasing you because you have hobbies and things to do on your own and for your own life. And the only men that really dislike that, or like truthfully dislike that, are the men that only wanted to take advantage of you and use you because they know that they can't use you and they can't manipulate you by withdrawing from you because you have other things going on in your life. So they can't come in and leave in a way that makes you desperate for them and gets you chasing after them. They know they can't control you emotionally like that, which is why for some guys, they don't like that. Because they want to have that level of power and control over you. Is the honest truth. I always tell you guys, love is like war. Maybe that'll be the title of my book, The War, or the War of Relationships, or something like that. Okay, maybe that's what I'll make it. All right, so being a separation Sally is number one. All right, miserable Molly is number two. Alicia says, are you sure though? Are there facts to prove this? Well, let me ask you a question. Any of the things that I describe here, have you ever been in a situationship or a relationship where you've done these things and made yourself more attractive to that guy? Like he's desired you more after doing these things. Okay, that's where I'll ask you a question and ask you if you think that makes it true or untrue what I'm discussing. So listen to each and every point and then ask yourself, have I done those things and been more attractive or desirable to men? Have they chased and pursued after me more after doing any of these things? If that's true, then maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, separation Sally, number one. A miserable Molly, number two. Now, number three, we have what's called a comparison Caitlin. Now, this is not stop pooping time, all right? I want everyone paying attention to comparison Caitlin because a lot of you do this. Even I do this sometimes. I used to do this a lot. Now I don't do this as much anymore. But we all do this in our lives. This will hurt you the most as the woman because this is the most powerful and prevalent thing in your life as a woman, okay? A comparison Caitlin is the type of person that is constantly looking to other women and looking at what they have, what qualities they possess, what physical traits they possess especially, and saying to themselves, damn, look at her dump truck. I could never get a dump truck like that. And this is how your man is here, okay? So you're on a date with your man, right? Your man is spending time with you, not the other people here. And you're actively looking at another woman that's there, right? In the restaurant or the place that you are with your man. And you're saying, damn, look at her dump truck. I can never get a dump truck like that. I wish I could get my booty that big. Literally, no matter how many thousands of squats I do, I'll never be able to get my booty that big. Damn, look at her voluptuous yitties. I would never be able to get my yitties that big, and they're not that perky. Oh my God, her body's so perfect. I could never even dream of having a body like that. Look at her face. She looks like a supermodel. I wish I had legs like that. I wish I had a waist that small. I couldn't even work out to get myself to look like that. Look at my pimples. No, all these other girls I see on Instagram, look at how beautiful and fresh her face is. And you're literally pulling up. Look at her face. Oh my God. If I had her face, I would kill to have her face. I literally would die just to have her face. And your everything that you do, your essence, just becomes about literally. This is the crazy part, because you think that you're just telling your man how you truly feel and expressing your honest thoughts, in your brain. But what you're actually doing is you're making it very clear to your man how you're less than other women. Okay? I know you like to treat your man as if he's your best girlfriend, and you like to tell him everything that's on your mind like he's your diary. But in reality, as you're being a comparison Caitlin, look at how me compared to her, because listen, Let me tell you something. You're never going to look at someone else and go, yeah, I have a dump truck way bigger than hers. She could only wish to be like me. You're always going to compare yourself to people who you think have something that you don't, whether it be their lifestyle, whether it be their relationship, whether it be the way that they look. This is why I say that for you, the woman, it's the most prevalent, because social media is constantly putting you right in a place where you think that you're competing with other women. So when you see other women who look gorgeous and all the men are worshiping her, you compare yourself to that. When you see other women who are getting flowers and getting cars and getting Birkin bags and getting Chanel bags, you're comparing what that man does for her to what your man does for you. So you're always going to end up comparing the lowlights of your life with the highlights of other people's lives. Are you following me so far? Right? You're never going to compare the highlights of your life with lowlights of others, because you are going to be in a constant cycle of constantly looking in your life towards what you don't have. Right? You're looking towards what you don't have so you can say, damn, I wish to have that. It does two things to you. It puts you in a constant state of dissatisfaction in your relationships because you're constantly dissatisfied with your life, right? So you're constantly more miserable. And because you're more miserable, you bring that miserable, sad energy into your relationship, right? And that oozes out of your pores, and people are unattracted to that. It also does the job of pointing out to the guys that you're dating how less than you are other women. The example I like to give whenever I describe this is, have you ever been, and I want you guys to all answer this, have you ever gone out with a friend of yours, whether it be a girl or a guy, and let's say you guys are out to eat or something like that, or just went out somewhere, and in the process of you guys going out, your friend goes, oh my God, can you see this huge, gigantic pimple on my forehead? It's so pussy. I've been trying to pop it all day, and I just feel like everyone that I see and I speak to is staring directly at my gigantic pimple on my forehead. And then as your friend is pointing that out, you're thinking to yourself, gee, I honestly wasn't really noticing it that much, but now that you point it out, yeah, it's pretty big and it's pretty gigantic, right? And then for the rest of the time that you spend with that friend, you're able to notice that extra large pimple on their forehead. Not actually because you really were noticing it at first. It's actually more a function of your friend making you aware of it and pointing it out to you that made it noticeable to you. Because when you're with your friend, you're not looking and analyzing your friend and thinking, oh yeah, look at that gigantic pimple on your forehead. But your friend is not you. Your friend is them. So your friend is looking in the mirror thinking that, oh my God, everyone's staring at my huge, gigantic pimple. So when they spend time with you, they're thinking that you're noticing it, even though you're thinking about your own insecurities and not thinking about the pimple on their forehead. And even if you notice it, you're not looking at just the pimple on their forehead. You're looking at them in totality. So it's a lot harder to notice and pinpoint. But until they point it out to you, then it becomes easier to notice and pinpoint. Okay? The reason I give you guys that example is because it's the same thing in your relationships. As you compare yourself to other women and constantly put yourself down or mention how you don't have what other women have, you only make it more clear to him how you're not embodying the type of woman that everyone desires or wants. You're not the most desirable woman around town, right? And you actually give him direct examples about why other women who are not you are more desirable than you. So you're like giving your man ammunition, or the guy that you're dating or seeing ammunition, right? And clear examples so that he can begin to believe in the narrative that you are not as good or as attractive or as stunning or as desirable as the other women in his life or the other women he can come across. So then how do you think he's going to treat you? He's going to treat you as if you're not as desirable as the other woman he could come across. You're actually, this is the crazy part. I always talk to you guys about emotions and how emotions affect you and how emotions will build narratives within your mind that you begin to believe in and act on. You're actually doing the work for him when you're a comparison, Caitlin, of building a narrative in his own mind that you're not as attractive or desirable as other women. And you're like stamping that. Think about how crazy this is. You're literally creating the letter, writing it out, folding it up, right? Sending the address and stamping it out and delivering it for him so that he can begin to believe in this narrative that you're not as attractive or desirable as other women. And then what does he do? He acts on that narrative that you have actually put in his own mind. Because when he was out on this date with you, when he was spending this time with you, he came on this date with you, not on this date with the girl sitting across from you. He didn't come out on this date with the girl who has a huge dump truck that's sitting over there. He didn't come on the date with the girl with the sundress that's got the huge booty that's walking by. Okay? He came on this date with you. So the fact that you're using this time that he's spending with you to point out how you're not as good as another girl who he didn't come to spend this time with, you're only building this narrative unnecessarily that you're not as good or desirable as other women. For why? For why? It makes no sense. Okay? Says embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. But I know that a lot of you guys do it without even realizing how it's affecting you in your relationship and not realizing how it's actually hurting you. You understand what I'm saying? Because you think that your man is meant to be like your girlfriend, where you just tell him everything that's on your mind. And in your mind, you actually do spend a lot of time comparing yourself to other women. And so you're letting him in on that, thinking that, oh, you're just like a girlfriend of mine where I just tell you everything that I feel. But in reality, you're building that narrative for him that, okay, yeah, you aren't as attractive as other women. Like, what do you think about this? What do you actually expect him to, how do you actually expect him to respond when you're a comparison Caitlyn? That he's going to say, no, your dump truck is bigger than that girl? Then you're just going to think that he's lying to you. And even if he does say, no, I still like the way that you look over the way someone else looks, you're going to be like, you're lying to me. You're just telling me what I want to hear. You're a liar. You don't actually believe that. Then you're going to get upset that you feel like he's lying to you. So there's actually no win there. There's no win for you, and there's no win for him. So you actually just make the situation worse by being a comparison Caitlyn, where you only end up feeling worse about yourself. You only end up feeling worse about yourself. There's no other option there. Okay. Even if he tries to compliment you, you still feel worse about yourself because you feel like he's lying to you. So what's the purpose there? Okay. These are part of the things. I'm not saying that you're a horrible person, but these are part of the things I want you to actually be thinking of. Why am I doing that? Why would I build a narrative in my own man's mind, or the guy that I'm dating's mind, that I'm not his dream woman? It does not make sense. And so you scare the men off because they go, damn, first of all, that girl has literally no self-esteem, right? And then they also go, they start to feel unattracted to you. And they start to treat you as if they're unattracted to you because you've helped to build a narrative in their mind that you're unattractive. Does that make sense? Ritzy Red says, who is qualifying this man to give advice? LOL, bye. Don't tell women how to feel. If you feel like I have no idea what I'm talking about, I honestly advise you to move forward with your life. Never listen to me ever again. In fact, block me. Make sure you never listen to any piece of my advice again, because I could be an idiot. I could have no idea what I'm talking about. This is not meant for me to tell you how to live your life or what you should believe in. If you don't believe in what I'm talking about, that's perfectly fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. I advise you to go watch the people that you feel like they're talking about things that you believe in and that they have the truth, okay? Be a truth seeker. Go find your truth. Don't spend time with us. Maybe we're all idiots here, okay? So Separation Sally was number 1. Miserable Molly, number 2. Comparison Caitlyn, number 3. Now, number 4 is Likeable Lily. Okay? I know some of you struggle with this, which is why we're going to spend some time on it. Don't be a likable Lily. Okay? I want to share with you a piece of information. And actually, this is a perfect segue from what we just experienced with Rita Ritz, or whatever her name was. Okay? I want you to understand, every moment of your life that you attempt to be more likable to people, you will only end up losing. Because the reality of it is, people are never going to be convinced to like you by you being more of what they want. It will only make it more clear to them that your whole essence and being is about trying to be liked by other people, and they will become repulsed by you, unattracted to you, and they will only spend time around you to utilize you and discard of you. Okay? So the reason I say it's a perfect segue from what just happened is because I want you to imagine if I had the mindset of someone who's constantly thinking about, how do I be more likable? Then I'll be thinking about, oh, I want to come on here and say exactly what everyone is going to come on here and like what I say. So I'm not going to give any real information. I'm going to say what I think that girls want to hear me say and will make them feel good about themselves so I can be the most. I don't give a damn about being the most likable. I'm here to share with you from my own experience, real information that I actually feel like you can use and take into your own life. However, if you come here and feel like I have no idea what I'm talking about, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't offend me that I'm one single individual having one single perspective that you might believe is untrue, or I might just be full of BS. Perfectly fine. Okay. It doesn't reflect on what my own value is. Okay. It doesn't reflect on what I think of myself. And the reason I'm giving you that example is because people like you more for being more of yourself than they do when you're trying to be more of what they want. Okay? Doesn't make you any more likable. And the thing about it is, when you build these relationships with these guys, initially, a lot of times, because he's a guy and because, you know, the guys want you and the guys pursue you, you're thinking to yourself, okay, if I want to be the most desirable or attractive version of myself, then I should be changing and adjusting myself to be more likable. So if he says he likes blondes, let me change my hair from brunette to blonde. If he says he likes redheads, let me change my hair from dark to red. If he says he likes tall girls, let me make sure I wear only 6-inch heels around him so I can be the tallest girl possible. Okay? It actually doesn't work like that. The more you can just be you, right? Just be you and be what makes you happy, the better off you will be. Because what will happen is the only people that get access to you that end up in your life will be people who like you for being you, not like you for being someone else. Okay? And I know the examples I just gave were about physical traits, but a lot of you, even more so on the emotional sense, try to change and adjust yourself emotionally to be more of what a guy wants. And the craziest part about it is, this is where I want you paying attention. The craziest, most insane part about it is a lot of times when you try to adjust yourself to what a guy says he wants, the response you get is actually negative. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. For example, guys will say, yo, I want a girl that shows me how much she likes me. I don't want no girl who's so bougie and she can't admit that she likes me and just be honest with me and be straightforward with me. I want a girl that will just be so straight up with me and tell me how much she loves me and how much she wants me and show me that by doing as many things as she possibly can for me. That's what men will come to you and say that they want. And when you're a likable Lily, you'll be thinking, oh, he said that he wants me to just be straight up and tell him how I feel. So you're going to be thinking every second of your day, yo, I just want you to know that I love you so much and you're the best thing since sliced bread and I can't get enough of you and my life is not complete without you. And you're going to be thinking everything that you got to be saying and talking about. Oh, I want you to know that like I really like you and I want you to know that I really want us to take this to the next level and I really want us to spend time together. So by the way, and just to show you that I really like you so much, I got you a brand new iPad. This is brand new. Like I literally went to the store and bought it today. It was just a light, $2,000 and I maxed out my credit card, but I just wanted to give you a gift like a token just to show you how much I really care and make it clear to you that I really do like you that much. And then when you do that, thinking that, oh, I'm showing him how much I like him because that's what he said that he wants and that's what he said that he needs and that's the type of woman he said that he likes. You want to know what happens directly after that? He says, oh, gee, thank you for the iPad. And you know what he does? He calls up his boys, right? He calls up his boys and he says, yo, bro, you'll never guess what this girl just got me. Bro, she got me an iPad. No, bruh. No, I'm not going to date her. Are you stupid? I'm never dating. Nah, I'm going to show you the iPad right now. Bro, I'm telling you, a whole iPad, brand new, straight from the Bro, I'm gonna show you right now. I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna bring the iPad. We're gonna watch a movie on the iPad. I swear, bro. Brand new iPad. I'm never dating that girl. Are you stupid? She got some good box though. For real. She do. Yeah, for sure. But nah, I wouldn't date her. This iPad crazy though. You know, on the new one, they got the new pencil. It's crazy, yo, this new iPad. That's what ends up happening when you're a likable lily. Right? They don't actually end up liking you more. They actually only end up thinking, gee, I wonder, how much more could I take advantage of her? How much more could I extract from her, whether it be emotionally or physically or financially for some of you, okay? Right? How much more can I get her to do for me without doing anything for her? Right? Nat T says this is similar to girls who buy Xbox for their situationships. 1,000%. You hit it right on the money, Nat T. This is exactly like that. This is exactly what, like when guys convince you that the way that they're going to like you more is by showing them how much you care, and showing them how much you care is buying an Xbox for them, or buying a PS5 for them, or buying them a new iPhone because their iPhone has got a cracked screen and it's still got a home button. Okay. And you're convinced that that's the way to get him to like you more. So you buy him that PS5 and all he thinks to himself is, great, I'm so glad I got this PS5 out of her. I wonder what more I could extract from her. He doesn't start thinking to himself, gee, I like her so much more now. Not saying that you shouldn't do anything nice for any guy, but you should be only thinking about doing something nice for the men who are committed to you. Not for random men who haven't even shown themselves to want to be in a relationship with you. It makes no sense. Right? Does that make sense? Right? So Zora says, go to the dollar store tree, get them a notepad and pen so they can write what you like down. That's funny. That's funny, right? This is why I say when you're a likable lily, it's very easy to get pushed and swayed into doing a whole bunch of front flips and back flips, thinking that you're actually getting people to want you more or desire you more. And this actually applies to both your relationships romantically and your friendships, because some of you that are people pleasers, right? A people pleaser is a likable lily, right? If you're a people pleaser, you're always going to be thinking about how can I do more so that you'll like me more. But in reality, when you do more so that people will like you more, they end up liking you less and using you more. Okay? Likable lilies only get used more. They don't actually get liked more or appreciated more. Does that make sense? Daydreamer says, y'all ever live with your situationship and still not get a title? That's insane. Insane. Okay. I wouldn't wish that on any of you. But being a likable lily will get you in some nefarious places that you'll be shocked, right? Being likable lilies always end up in a place where they're getting absolutely nothing while overextending themselves and giving their absolute most. Okay. That is the place where likable lilies end up. Okay. And I never want you to get fooled into being a likable lily because men are telling you that that's what they want. 99% of men don't even know what they want. So when they tell you what they want, they're only telling you what actually benefits them, but they're not actually telling you something that would benefit you. They're telling you that you should do the absolute most for him, not because it's going to make him want you anymore, but because it's actually going to make it easier for him to extract things from you. Okay? So don't be thinking that men are telling you what they want so that you can actually be more likable to them, okay? I am here to actually tell you what makes you more desirable to them, that makes you them pursue you more. But guys are going to be giving you advice based on what serves him the best, okay? So that necessarily won't be what serves you because you want to be desired and you want to be pursued, unfortunately, okay? Trini says, Dr. Umar said insecure women will always get used. First, heal yourself and learn to know your worth. I 100% agree. Are you the secret Dr. Umar's niece in our Discord? Is that you, Trini? Maybe that's you. You brought up Dr. Umar. Okay, interesting. So number 1 was separation Sally. Number 2, miserable Molly. Number 3, comparison Caitlin. Number 4, a likable Lily. And number 5, we have what I refer to. I said it was stop pooping time before. This is actually for real stop pooping time. I actually want you to suck it way back in. Okay. Bring it through your colon, back into your stomach. It's going to sit there for a little bit because I want you paying perfect attention to this. Take your hand out of your pants and pay attention. You're not going to like what I say, and it's not going to feel good. We have to discuss it, though. Number 5 is being an attention Ashley. Now, okay, let's stay on this for a little bit. I wanted to discuss this very well with you. Now, when I'm referring to an attention Ashley, what I'm talking about is this persistent, insatiable desire to get as much attention from guys simultaneously as you possibly can. Okay, we're going to have to stay here because I need to be very clear on this. This is actually hurting you, and it's making men not want you. I never want you to think that you become more desirable by having more men show you attention. Okay? That's for your ego, but that actually doesn't make you a more desirable woman. It actually makes you look more like an attention Ashley. Okay? And as you continue trying to gain more attention from men simultaneously, thinking that you're doing something, it only says to those men that you're so attention hungry, you'll literally do anything for it. Okay? So you're thinking that it's a flex to tell guys, I'm dating like 4 men at once. You're not the only one. Okay? That's not the flex that you think it is. Having a roster of 8 people is not the flex that you think it is. Having all those guys want you, but none of them getting access to you is a flex. Now, if you're actually living that type of life of a desirable woman, you're also not giving a lot of access to you for a whole bunch of guys. So you're thinking that you're flexing by flexing your roster or flexing the fact that all these guys are taking you out on dates. Why are all these guys even getting the opportunity to take you out on dates? There's a 100% chance that not all of them are qualified to even be able to be on a date with you. Being an attention Ashley doesn't make you look good. It makes you look more repulsive. And the reason that I have to touch on this is because I know some of you come from other places, other people that are relationship gurus or relationship experts, whatever. I'm just a regular human being. Don't call me anything but a human being, okay? But other people that call themselves relationship experts and gurus will tell you the best thing that you can do is date 100 men at once, because then you won't get attached to any one of these men. In fact, you'll be so unattached and detached from life that you won't care about anything, and life will just be so amazing when you can date this guy for money and this guy for Ubers and this guy for food and this guy for groceries, and everyone's giving you stuff, everyone's giving you money, and your life is just spread amongst 100,000 different men who all want to date you simultaneously. You will never win in life doing that. You will never win in life going about your relationships that way. Never. You will only end up spread so emotionally thin that you can't even think straight. You'll end up with a lot of trauma because in the process of you giving yourself, and make no mistake about it, as you're dating these people, you're giving parts of yourself to them. You will only end up being traumatized by giving yourself to people who had so many different intentions, so many different motivations, and so many different ways of treating you, some of which aren't so good, that you end up traumatized, realizing that you've given intimate parts of yourself to people who literally don't care about you and actively want the worst for you. Okay? Being an attention Ashley not only scares the guys off, but it also actively makes your life worse, like personally, on a personal level. Okay? I never want you to go into a talking stage or a relationship thinking that the flex is telling another guy how many other guys you're dating simultaneously, that your roster is keeping you so busy that he's not going to get time with you. No. Because, this makes me so mad. I'm going to actually get mad. This makes me so mad because when I tell you guys that you should be unavailable to men, that you should have other things going on in your life so that you're not like sitting here waiting for paint to dry, hoping that he'll text you back. I'm not saying you do that by having more men in your life. This is so frustrating to me because you're literally defeating the purpose of having some things for yourself, focusing your energy on you and being about you right? You're literally losing the whole purpose of that by spending all of your time just dating multiple men so that you're not attached to each individual man. It makes no sense, and it only puts you in a worse place emotionally and spiritually. It makes me so angry because I don't understand why people preach this to you. And then some of you even believe in it, thinking that the best thing for you to do as a woman is to have a roster of 1,000 men that you can date simultaneously. You will never win that way. You will never win that way. I want you to take all of that energy back from the guys for once and bring it and put it into yourself for once. Stop spreading it into other men. I know some of you think that, oh, but I'm receiving something. He pays for Ubers. He pays for money. He pays for groceries. You do understand nothing in this world is free. You're thinking, oh, I'm not really doing anything for that man. But anytime you're connecting with someone, anytime you're spending time with someone, you're giving parts of yourself emotionally and spiritually to that person. I don't care how little energy you think you put on them. When you spend time with them, you're giving parts of yourself to them. I know this sounds very spiritual, but it makes me so angry that some of you think that the solution to your problems is to date a bunch of men at once simultaneously. You're becoming an attention Ashley. And you know what? The funniest part about being an attention Ashley, you think that the flex is that I don't care about you when you tell him that, hey, I'm dating multiple men at once, or I have a roster, or trying to show off the fact that indirectly that you have a roster. You think that the flex is, oh, I'm showing you how little I care about you, and I'm showing you how unimportant you are to me. When in reality, you're actually showing him how men and the value that you place on what they think of you is so important that you actually need that validation from multiple men simultaneously to even feel like you have any sort of self-worth. And you actually make yourself look way worse and way more reliant on men by showing him how much the attention matters to you. That not attention from just one single guy is enough. No. You need to have attention from multiple men simultaneously to feel like you have any sort of self-worth. It only communicates to me because you're thinking that I'm receiving it one way and I'm trying to help you understand how, as a man, I'm actually receiving that. It only communicates to me that all of your value is placed on what men think of you and whether or not they want to date you or spend time with you. So God forbid men take attention away from you, you will go insane. I also think as a man, what are you willing to do for more attention? I know that this is not what you wanted to hear. And I know that for some of you, you're like, bro, you lost me. I'm not with this. I'm going to date a roster of 100 men. But it's the honest truth. Because when I receive that from you, your flex of your roster and how you date 20 men at once and this and that, all I think to myself is, damn, that's a lot you're willing to do for attention. So I wonder if you're ever deprived of attention, how low you'll stoop. What morals will you sacrifice, right? What standards will you sacrifice for more attention? That's what I begin thinking to myself. And that's part of some of the things that scare men off for you. When you're an attention Ashley, when all you can think about is attention from multiple men at once, and you actually believe, because this is the thing, when you're an attention Ashley, you're of the belief that your value is the fact that so many men will date you at once and want you at once. So you communicate that to other guys thinking that he believes that same thought process or that same concept, that your value is how everyone wants to date you simultaneously. But like with business, let me fix this here. Just like with business, right, where value is not just supply, it's also demand. And it's also the balancing act of the fact that everyone wants it, but it's in limited supply, which makes the price go up and the value go up. It's the same concept. The value in you is not the fact that everyone can date you and everyone is dating you at once. The value in you is the fact that guys do want you, but actually very little of them even get access to you. And it's also in the fact that you are unfazed by what these men think of you. So whether or not they want to date you, that doesn't make you think you're less desirable. You know that your value is your value, whether or not you're dating 1,000 men at once. So you don't need a roster of 3 or 4 or 5 men to feel like you have value. You have value dating 0 men. Because you don't take your energy and invest it into multiple men. You take your energy, take it back from the men, and you invest it into you, for you, to make you happy. Okay? I know that, in 2024, they're trying to preach to you that dating a roster of men is the way to go because that's the most powerful version of yourself. Truthfully, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm an idiot, but I would never tell you that the most powerful version of yourself is giving yourself to a whole bunch of men and dating them as if you're some sort of pimp. I just don't believe in that concept. Whether or not you're receiving money from them, whether or not you're receiving gifts from them, it doesn't matter. Because what are you doing? Exchanging money for your soul and your spirit? Exchanging gifts for your soul and your spirit? Because make no mistake about it, you're giving your soul and your spirit to people that you're spending a lot of your time with. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too spiritual for this stuff. And some of you guys are like, you know what? You ain't making no sense. I don't care about nothing you're saying. I don't know. Ivy donates $10. She says, so if men ask you if you are dating other people when you are on the first date or in early stages, what's the best response? Okay, actually, this is a great question, Ivy, and I want us to touch on this, right? What I mean by being an attention, Ashley, is I don't want you flexing that you have a roster of men, okay? I don't want that to be your flex or you to think that that's the way that you should go about it because that's making you look more desirable to men. Okay. I don't want you to lie. So if you are open to dating other people or you are currently dating other people, I don't want you to lie about that. I want you to be honest about it. However, there's a very different way of presenting yourself to people, right? That will drastically change the way that they receive you. So what I mean by that, for example, is if a guy asks you if you're dating other people, like Ivy just asked in the YouTube chat, if a guy asks you if you're dating other people, you can respond with, simply, yes, currently I am exploring other relationships. However, I'm only exploring them until I am able to make a decision on whether or not this is the type of relationship I want to continue on with, because I can't date multiple people forever. So once someone shows me that they're not who I'm looking for, that relationship's going to be over. I'm only giving people an opportunity to show me if they're what I'm looking for, okay? But I don't intend to be dating multiple people long term. These people asked me out on a date, and I allowed them to take me out on a date so I can feel them out, okay? But I'm not going to be in the process of dating multiple people on an ongoing basis. So this is where you kind of have to start making decisions for yourself. Because if multiple men are asking you out on dates, there's nothing wrong with going out on these dates to allow them to take you out on a date. But then you have to start making decisions. Because how long are you going to allow multiple men to take you out on dates all the time? At a certain point, this is why, okay. And I'm glad Ivy asked this question because this leads into something that is very important. You have to have for yourself your own criteria list on what it is you're looking for. Because when you go out on dates with guys, you can't just endlessly date them until they decide to not date you anymore. If you're going to date multiple men, you can't marry multiple men. So eventually you're going to have to narrow down your list into one guy and date one guy at once. And so the only way to narrow down your list for what works for you is to be knowing what you actually are looking for, so that when you're dating men, you can start saying, okay, I'm only dating you to get closer to the answer of, are you what I'm looking for or not? And you see, when you're going about your relationships like that, you will begin eliminating men constantly until you narrow it down to one man. And so the only guys you will be dating on an ongoing basis are the guys that are embodying the type of person and the type of character and the type of relationship that you're actually looking for. When they stop embodying that, you will immediately stop dating them. So there is a narrowing process of what you're looking for. So I want you, rather than communicating as if, oh, I'm just endlessly dating multiple people until I'm not anymore, I want you to be coming to the date from the standpoint of, I'm only dating until they show me whether or not they're who I'm looking for. But I'm narrowing down this process into one man. I'm not dating multiple people for the fun of dating multiple people. I'm narrowing this down to who it is exactly that I'm looking for, and the type of relationship and respect and consistency that I'm looking for. You want to know what happens when you present yourself that way? It makes it seem like you came to this relationship and this dating stage with your head screwed on straight with an idea of what it is that you want. And you know what I say as a man when you start talking about a narrowing down process and you start talking about the fact you're not about to be dating multiple men for no reason? I start thinking, all right, you mean business. Right? And if I start thinking you mean business, I start thinking, all right, let me get my head screwed on straight and not approach this talking stage or this date as if, all willy-nilly, as if I don't know what I'm doing here. Right? You start to give off the mentality and the energy that you only date with intention. So men come to their own realization without you even having to tell them anything. They say, because you don't have to say, you better date me with intention. When you start communicating to them that way, they start thinking the only way I'm going to date you is by dating you with some intention. So if I don't have any clear end goal here, you're going to spot that out and sniff that out very easily. And then you're going to move forward with your life, because this isn't a let's date until let's not date anymore. This is I'm here to allow you to date me. In the process of me allowing you to date me because you say you want to pursue me, I'm vetting you out, checking off boxes, seeing if you're what I'm looking for. If I ever decide that you're not what I'm looking for, you will immediately never get an opportunity to date me again. It's that simple. And you have to be in the business. I know it sounds mean. I know it does. But you have to be in the business of being that strategic and strict with it. You can date me, yes. Let's see what you got. You can do backflips, do front flips. Let's see if I even like you. If I decide at any point in the relationship or in this dating stage that I don't like you or you're not what I'm looking for, you have been cut off. Your opportunity is gone forever. You'll never get that opportunity again. So when they come to you, it's like a one-time application. You get one chance to make your application. If you don't put your best foot forward when making your application, you'll be gone forever. I know that some of you think it sounds mean, but I also know that a lot of you ask me, how can I create a sense of urgency in men? That's how you do that. By making it seem urgent that he puts his best foot forward or else his opportunity is gone. Okay? Why do you think people line up overnight to get a pair of Jordans? They're just shoes. They've been made in the same factory with the small Chinese boy stitching them together as all the other shoes in the world. So why do people line up overnight to get those shoes? Because they know that other people are also willing to line up overnight to get those shoes. And if they don't line up overnight to get those shoes, they will never get an opportunity to get those shoes. Do you see how that works? They know that the demand is so high for those shoes, you only get one chance to get those shoes in store. And if you don't use the opportunity by getting there ahead of time, sleeping in a tent to get those shoes, you'll never get them. It's not possible. You're not going to get them. Done. So what do those people do? They say, regardless of whether I'm tired, regardless of whether I don't feel like it, regardless of whether I'm sick, I'm going to march my butt down to that store, down to that Foot Locker, and I'm going to line up overnight in a tent, cold, hungry, tired, sick, so I can get those shoes. Doesn't matter how I feel. The reality of it is, if I don't line up to get those shoes, everyone else will, and they'll get those shoes. So do you see how you create a sense of urgency when you say you either show up for what I'm looking for or you don't, and you'll never get an opportunity with me? Then you put a sense of urgency into people where they say, regardless of what I want, my only options are either get access to her by being what she's looking for, or I don't get any access to her. Any access to her. Does that make sense? I know that was like a long-winded way to answer the question, but I think IVO was a very good question, and I think a lot of people are confused when I talk about being an attention Ashley and why dating a roster of men is not a flex. Okay? I'll be honest with you. So don't be thinking that that's flex. You can look very desirable to a man, I assure you, without flexing your roster on a man. Okay? Just FYI. Okay? We'll talk about that another day in detail. Separation Sally, number 1. Miserable Molly, number 2. Comparison Caitlin, number 3. Likeable Lily, number 4. Attention Ashley, number 5. Now, I want to talk about number 6, which is what I call, this is a weird name, an unhealed Ulysses. Ulysses is a nice name. I like that name. Unhealed Ulysses is someone that essentially is emotionally unavailable. Okay. Now, the reason they're emotionally unavailable is because they haven't yet taken the time to process their old relationship and properly be ready and whole enough to date a new person. Okay. These are the type of people, and you're not a bad person for it, but these are the type of people that will hop from one relationship directly into another, like literally directly. I mean, like to the point where it's overlapping. Like as you're breaking up with the old guy, you're literally already building your relationship with the new guy, okay? And an unhealed Ulysses is someone that comes into the relationship with all of these still unaddressed feelings for their past partner. Whether it be because they have history together, they still have a connecting life together, they still share a life together, they still have a lot going on with each other, and this relationship really isn't over. That's one of the major things that scares a lot of men off. And as it should, right? This is one of those that should. Because when you're unhealed and you have not yet processed the emotions of your past relationship, and trust me, guys aren't idiots. A little bit emotionally stunted, they're not idiots though. They know when you still have a lot of love in you for your ex, or a lot of love in you for the guy that you were once with. And they know, they can feel it in their heart and in their soul when you are not ready truly to be dating again. And for a lot of guys, when they realize that, it scares them off and they are like, I don't want to deal with someone like this. And you're going to feel like something's wrong with you when in reality, you just needed to take a moment for yourself, for once, okay? For once. And I know everyone talks about healing yourself and you're like, what do I really do to heal yourself? I have a whole show on that, okay? But when I talk about an unhealed Ulysses, you actually, in all your relationships, and I know that it sounds boring because then you can't date 100 men at once, but when you actually come out of a relationship, you need to take like a period of time to analyze and soak in what happened in that relationship. I know a lot of you come to me and you always ask me, how do you know so much about this stuff? How do you know so much about relationships? How are you so smart? Or how do you think like this and things like that? It's because after each one of my relationships, I actually took time to sit down and analyze within myself what happened, why it happened, what my approach was, what my wrongdoings were. Right? How I could have approached the relationship different. I will replay the entire relationship, every moment, every conversation, every laugh, every intimate moment in my mind and think, what did I do that contributed it coming up to this point? What decisions could I have made differently that could have led me to a different outcome? Right? And I spend a lot of time analyzing what transpired in my previous relationship so that I can properly process it and then know what I need to add to my toolbox or repertoire for my new relationship, okay? And by the time I come into my new relationship, they get an even better version of me because now I understand how to make better decisions and how to adjust my behavior and how to work on the things that I needed to work on or even just as important, avoid the same type of situations or relationships that I had before. So if I had a really toxic relationship and I know what I did and I know how I contributed to that, and I also know how my partner may have contributed to that and the situations that arose because of that, now I'm even more aware of how to avoid that and the type of things that need to be addressed at the beginning so that that doesn't end up happening. Okay. Right. These are all things that are supposed to happen when you end a relationship so that your next relationship doesn't just fall under the same constant cycle. Are you following what I'm saying? But when you're an unhealed Ulysses, you won't be able to do that. You'll fall into the same cycles multiple times and all your relationships will mirror themselves seemingly to end the exact same way. And you'll feel like you're dating the same person multiple times. Right? Also, simultaneously, you're going to scare the guys off that you're in relationships with or trying to build with because they're going to quickly identify that you're not even in the headspace to be building a relationship because you can't. You're still emotionally invested in whatever once was with the partner that you once were with. And a lot of times you're going to be trying to project those feelings onto this new guy, or try to turn him turn the new guy into the old guy. And it's none of it's going to work out. You're going to be confused. You're going to wonder down the road. You're going to wonder why you don't feel like you feel the way about this guy that you should feel about this guy, when the reason you don't feel the way that you should feel about this guy is because you never felt anything for this guy, because all of your feelings that you thought were feelings for him were actually feelings for your ex that you took and put on pause, projected onto him, and then pressed play. Okay? Because anytime you do that, you're going to think to yourself, oh, I really do like you and I really do want to be with you. And then down the road, you're going to realize, actually, I don't know what it is, but it's just not working for me. Okay? And it's not because he's a bad person or you're a bad person. It's simply because when you take your feelings for one person, you hit them on pause, and then you put them on another person and you press play. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. And that doesn't make those feelings any more real because you hit play on a different person. And I'm saying that because I've actually done that. Okay. I'm not saying that because I'm better than you. I've actually done that, which is why I know how that works. Okay. And you scare people off when they start to feel in you that you're not ready to be building something. For some people, they stay with you hoping that it will eventually change, and it usually never works out. Okay. But for a lot of men, right, when they realize or see that in you, it can scare them off. Okay. So number 1 was separation Sally. Number 2, miserable Monty. Number 3, comparison Kayla. Number 4, likable Lily. Attention Ashley. Number 5, unhealed Ulysses. I like that name, Ulysses. Number 6, who has that name in the chat? And number 7, and one of the worst ones, is a begging Betty. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about a begging Betty, I'm specifically referring to someone. Okay, some of you have done this. A begging Betty is someone that when a guy tells you that he may not want to spend his time with you, or sorry, I should say he may not want to be with you anymore, or he may not, or he's thinking about whether or not he still wants this relationship. He's on the fence, right? He's like, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not sure how I feel about you. I don't know if I can continue doing this. What do? Rather than just saying, okay, whatever, if that's not how you feel, I'm not going to force you to feel that way. You begin begging, please, please stay with me. Please, I'm begging you. Don't leave me. Don't abandon me. Why would you do this to me? You know how much I want to be with you. I've invested so much of my time in you. Why are you going to? Please don't leave me. I love you so much. Please don't walk away from me. Don't do this to me. The men feel repulsed by that. Okay. Listen, I'm not saying this to say that you're a bad person. I understand that when you beg, you're thinking, I'm showing you how much I like you. I'm showing you how much I want you. I'm cringing because it's so embarrassing for you. It's so embarrassing. And it actually makes you so much more unattractive when you beg. The best thing you can do when someone tells you they're either on the fence about you, or they're not sure if they want to be in a relationship with you anymore, or they're just, even if it's a talking stage and they're like, I don't know if I'm really ready to go to the next level. The best thing you can do is say, perfectly fine. If you're not ready for the next level, or you're not ready to build anything real with me, I'll withdraw. You don't even have to tell them that you're going to withdraw. Just say that's perfectly fine. Cool. And then you don't speak to them again until they come to you prepared to be with you and know 100% that they want to be with you. See, when you're begging for men to be with you, when you're begging for men to notice you, when you're begging for men, again, also to desire you, all of those things only end up pushing them farther away from you. They do not want to desire you because you beg to be desired. They don't want to be with you because you beg for them to be with you. It only makes them feel like I actually want to be with you less. I actually don't want to desire you, and I can't even desire you even if I wanted to. Okay? Never be a begging Betty. It only puts you in a place of sadness and feeling used and unappreciated. Because the reality of it is, people will be with you, especially the men. The men are going to be with you if the men want to be with you. Unfortunately, and I hate to tell you this because I know that it makes you sad, unfortunately, you can't beg your way into getting a man to want to be with you. It just doesn't work like that. No matter how much you plead and no matter how much you cry and beg him to stay with you, it's never going to work out. Even if he stays with you because of how much you beg, he's only going to be staying with you out of pity, not because he wants to be in a relationship with you. And what will end up happening after that? He will end up resenting you for making a decision about staying with you simply because he wanted to just not make you cry and not make you sad. So you end up losing and the relationship will not end up working out anyways. So you're better off when a guy specifically tells you that he's on the fence with you or he's unsure about you, you're better off just allowing him to walk away and say, you know, the only time you're going to get an option to come back to me is if you're absolutely 100% ready to build something serious with me. If you're on the fence, I don't want you in my life because there's other people here that are ready to be 100% committed to me. I don't need to beg you. And here's the thing too. Here's the other trick that I want you to be aware of, because some guys might say, oh, I expected you to beg because I wanted to see how much you wanted this. Some guys are going to tell you that they want you to kind of be like a begging Betty because they want to see how badly you want this, when in reality, they're not asking you to do that because they actually would like that or be more attracted to you because of that. They're asking you to do that so that they can recognize how much power they have over you. Because if I threaten to leave you and you're begging me to stay, that makes me feel like I have a lot of power over you. And if I feel like I have a lot of power over you, now I know if I ever want to get you to do anything that I want you to do, all I have to do is manipulate you by threatening you with leaving or walking away. Because you're going to beg and you're going to ask me, what must I do so that you don't walk away or leave? Now, what do I have? All of the leverage. Okay? You're asking me, please don't leave. I will do anything for you to not leave. And then what do I get to say? All right, if you really want me that badly, I want you to give me access to your Squirtle without any commitment. And then what do you say? Sure, your wish is my command. And you take your legs and you spread them wide open. And he jackrabbits himself inside of you for 90 seconds exactly. Probably less. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So do you guys have any questions about anything we just discussed here? Separation Sally, miserable Molly, comparison Caitlin, likable Lily, attention Ashley, unhealed Ulysses, and begging Betty. All right. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you guys. All right. I know we went deep today. RC says some men take you for a fool easy and easily manipulated. Don't do it 100%. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is why a function of a lot of what we talked about, 7 behaviors that scare men off, are actually things that some of you think, oh, but I'm doing it because I'm showing how much I like him, showing him how much I want him. But in reality, it just ends up making you more unattractive to men. Okay. Someone said separation and Sally. Any of the points that you guys missed are available on my YouTube page because I'm live on YouTube at the same time I'm live on TikTok. So if you missed any of the points and you're trying to understand what they mean, you just go over to my YouTube and you'll be able to go to the live section and you'll find it right there. My YouTube page is just my name. It's on the top right of my head. That's why I'm pointing up there. Okay. Someone says this podcast has changed me so much over the last year. I'm glad. I'll be here for a lot of time, as much as I can be here. Okay. Oracle says, every time I hear Jackrabbit, I gasp. That's pretty funny. Trini says, I heard a story where a guy told her to do something with his homeboy to make it up to him. That's really funny. And this is why I also tell you guys, don't be... I know this sounds weird coming from a guy, but I would honestly advise you to never believe in what a guy says that he wants from you. Simply because... guys will say that they want something from you in a way that benefits him the most. But in terms of getting what you want from him, which is being desired and pursued by him, it actually won't benefit you. So an example of that is what Trini just brought up. Like, imagine a guy telling you that the way that I'll appreciate you and you can show me how much you care is by sucking my homeboy off. And when you're a likable Lily, or a pick-me-sha or a people pleaser, however you want to describe it, you'll be thinking in your mind, honestly and truthfully, that, oh, the best way for me to show you how much I care about you and show you how loyal I am is by sucking your homeboy off. And when I suck your homeboy off, I will show you that I'm loyal and that I really care about you and this relationship. When you do it, he's just going to laugh at you. He's going to high five his homeboy and he's going to never speak to you again. Okay. And I know some of you are laughing because you're like, how could any girls be that stupid? I can assure you, people fall for that. Okay. I'll just tell you as a man, people fall for that. Okay. So I have to make that aware to all of you. All right. So, so Electric Field says, sounds like a gang initiation. Trust me, stuff like that happens every day in places that you would never even imagine. I have seen a lot. All right. I've seen a lot. Okay. Someone says it's sad how guys can manipulate, which is exactly why we have the show, and the show is called The Players Club, because I do want you to understand how, honestly, not only just guys, but people in general are going to be attempting to manipulate you for a whole bunch of different reasons, and how you can actually understand that better so that you can not have that happen to you. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can either be the one getting manipulated or do the manipulating. A lot of people come, or some people I should say, come in here and they think, well, this is so much manipulation. This is wrong. You shouldn't do this to people. And then my answer to them is, well, that's perfectly fine. Don't do any of the manipulating and don't worry about anything that we talk about here. But rest assured, when you leave here and you go out into your own regular relationships and you're the super naive one, you're the super green one, you will eventually find yourself in a relationship with someone who knows how to manipulate you, and they will do that. Okay. Valencia says, my ex cheated on me. I never told him I knew. I pretended not to know. I prepared myself mentally. I hope you ended it. Well, he's your ex, so obviously it ended, right? Beach Babe says, what if he says to trust him? What? A guy telling you that you should trust him should never make you actually trust him. Don't ever do that, okay? That's not even something I would advise you to do with your friends, okay? Just because a friend says that you should trust them, that doesn't mean that you should trust them, okay? I would never advise you to trust people just because they say to trust them. Actually, those are the last people I would advise you to trust if someone's specifically saying that, okay? Not because I want you guys to be pessimists, but you should be skeptical of people. Like, understand that like this world that we live in is not rainbows and sunshines, okay? It's not hold hands and sing kumbaya. I hate to say that because it sounds really sad and not like a utopia, but that's the reality. So you can't be going around life as if everyone is meant to be trustworthy and everyone is meant to be your best friend. It's the same reason why I tell you, when you go out on dates with men, don't assume that they're all here for the right reasons. Don't assume that they all want the best for you and they all want to treat you like a princess. It's just untrue. You know what I mean? And you have to do the job of analyzing, not that no one will ever come across you and have good intention, but you have to do the job of analyzing what are your intentions, what are you here for, do you have a good heart, and all that good stuff before you give yourself to him. You have to do that job of analyzing that. You can't just assume that, you know, you should trust people because they're new. What does that mean? Or because they should be, what? This is just so dumb. All right. So with that being said, it is time. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me in the chat what time it is? I want to know in the chat what time it is. Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. In the chat, what time is it? I want to know what time it is. Here we go now. In the chat, what time is it? I want to know what time it is. Here we go. In the chat, won't tell me what time it is. I want to know what time it is. In the chat now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. Can you tell me in the chat? I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. Can you tell me in the chat? I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. Can you tell me in the chat? All right, guys. Let's stop. Let's get serious now. Okay, it's time to stop being silly. Let's get serious now. It's Discord time where we answer a bunch of serious questions in the Discord. This is not a game. And for those of you who are new here, this is where the beautiful, amazing members of the Discord, they get an opportunity to ask me questions in the live chat. In the live show, and I answer all their questions about relationships and their situationships and all the things that they're going through, and we talk about them and discuss them live on the show. So if you want to send in your question to the relationship advice section, you can, and if you send it to the premium version, I can even read them out today for you. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, there's a free version of relationship advice, and there's also a premium version of relationship advice. What happens is the free version is first come, first serve. However, the premium version is like the skip the line pass at the theme park. So they get to skip the line of people. They don't have to wait in line, and I answer their questions first. Okay, does that make sense? However, if you're gonna put your question in premium relationship advice, in order to do that, the same way you would do at a theme park, you have to donate to the show. Okay, so it's not free for you. You got to donate to the show. Now, you donate to the show by heading over. If you're on TikTok, you head over to the link in my bio, and then once you get to the link in my bio, you'll see a section there that says Premium Relationship Advice section. You donate to the show, and when you donate to the show, it's via PayPal. You just put in your username. If you've already created one, you should have already created one, and then the title of your question. So that when I go into the premium relationship advice section and I take out my phone, which I'm doing right now, to verify who has asked their question in relationship advice, I can know, as a matter of fact, that you put your donated to the show before asking your question. That way it's fair for everyone in the live show, and I'm not over here answering questions in premium relationship advice and letting people skip the line that haven't actually deserved to be able to skip the line. Does that make sense? So you can do that there. I'm also, for those of you who are on, because I know some of you are on YouTube and want to ask your question in the relationship advice section as well, I'm going to put that same link and paste it for you guys in the YouTube chat so that you guys can get access to that as well. Let's go here, and I'm gonna pin that for you guys as well. So you guys in YouTube can also ask your question in the donate to the show and then ask your question in premium relationship advice. So I'm here in premium relationship advice, and I'm gonna answer the first question that we haven't done yet so far. So we did Hefma last time. Okay, so these are the ones that I have to do for today. All right. Am I playing this correctly as a Players Club member? Okay, so Matcha asks, hello, Tomisin. Thank you for providing such great advice on relationships from the male perspective. I've been binging your content for the past week, and I have learned so much that I'm actually implementing. Your work came at a perfect time. So glad. I am 25 currently, seeing a 33-year-old male. We went around a month ago while I was also in the talking stages with another man. Okay. Me and him had an instant connection on a mental, emotional, and physical level. Let's hope you actually ended it with the other guy. First date went great. However, the second date took place at his place where he cooked me a meal. Okay. I usually don't ever accept these dates at these guys' places as a rule, but I broke my own standards. Okay. Anytime, listen, there's a word of advice. Anytime any of you are saying I broke my own standards for this guy, you've already started off wrong. You should never be doing that, no matter how much you like him. And this is why the show exists, because I want you to understand you should never do that, no matter who it is. And especially if you like him, don't do that. You then go on to say, I know my fault, because it felt like we had such a great connection. That's how it always feels when you really like a guy. That's where the mistakes happen. It started off fine, but once he realized I was talking to another man, he got very upset. I explained that I had just met with him a week prior and would not be choosing anyone to date exclusively just yet. He proceeded to try to do pineapple-related activities with me. I felt pressured. We did some pineapple activities, but not the actual act. We've already started off morbid today. Matcha. Okay. Once again, like I said earlier, The first mistake is not even having pineapple related activities with him on the second date, because this is the second date. The first mistake is the moment you start breaking rules that you have regularly for one guy in particular. Okay? This is why I tell you guys it's 99.9% about the approach. For majority of you, except for some of you that might have huge bobbleheads or something, majority of you, you're attractive women and you can attract guys. Guys want you. So that's not your issue to get actual guys to want you, okay? Your issue is how your approach changes when you like a guy and how you make exceptions for him, how you approach the relationship differently. You let him do things you wouldn't let other guys doing. And this is why I'm trying to help you understand that is the problem that you're facing. And that's why your relationships aren't working out, because the same standard you would have for a guy that you didn't really like that much is the same standard you should have, especially for a guy you really like and you can actually see yourself with, okay? Because you're setting the foundation for everything that your relationship is going to be in the future. So breaking your standards for him didn't actually yield you a better result. In fact, it ended you up in a worse place, because now the guy that you actually want to be with, you just given access to you, right, in a pineapple related level on the second date. So what do you think that's going to do for his desire for you or his respect for you? Not a lot. I went home and I did not feel good about the second date. Look, you're feeling horrible about a guy you actually like. So it's like a double whammy, because you actually like him. So you want this to work, and you've actually made mistakes that are making this not work. I felt so icky for the next 3 days. So I ignored his text for 3 days, which resulted in him calling me. I told him how I truly felt about the situation and how I didn't feel like my boundaries were being respected, and he promptly apologized and said he was sorry for making me feel that way. It felt like a genuine apology. Okay, so this is where I have to be honest with you, Matcha. Your boundaries were not crossed by him. Your boundaries were crossed by you. This is not to put blame on you or anything like that, but I want you to understand, like I said before, the mistake wasn't pineapple activities with him. The mistake was not respecting a boundary that you've already set for yourself, for any guy that's going to be dating you. You have to stand on that and say, look, I'm not going over to your house for you to cook, or for you to, whether you want to cook me a gourmet meal, whether you want to cook me a 3-course meal, a 10-course meal, whether you want to eat snacks, whether you want to eat filet mignon. Whatever you want to eat, I'm not going to your house to eat it. You got to keep that same standard and boundary that you have for yourself, whether or not you like the guy. Okay? And that's where you disrespected yourself first before we can start talking about him respecting your boundaries. You understand what I'm saying? Matcha, then you say, I continue to see him. I've seen him 5 times after the second date, but some of his dates are super low effort. Chat? Are you shocked? Are you shocked? You see what happens when you allow guys to make them feel like, hey, I don't have to put in a lot of effort to get what I want out of you. He had the second date at your house. He probably made you a pre-cooked recipe. He probably made you some spaghetti and meatballs with a canned sauce that he didn't even make from scratch, and, a hard spaghetti. Probably didn't even cook the spaghetti all the way through, and raw meatballs. All right? And then he put his meatballs inside of you. So that's the second date. Now you're confused why the rest of the relationship is starting to look very low effort. I wonder why. I wonder what foundation and precedent has been set here. We did have pineapples the 4th time I saw him. I made that mistake, and I also told him that day that I would choose to date him exclusively. What? What are you doing, Matcha? Okay. You make yourself look really bad when you tell a guy, I didn't want to do this thing, and that's not the decision I should have made, and then you make the decision again anyways. Even when you go as far as doing pineapple related stuff with him and you feel guilty, look, I understand why you felt guilty, but you do realize you make yourself look very weak when you are saying, hey, I know I shouldn't have done that. I regret doing that. That was a mistake on my part. Because what it actually, I know that you're just communicating how you feel, but even more than that, what the guy receives from that is, oh, I am so persuasive to you that I can convince you to do things that you don't even want to do. To the point where you're like brainwashed or convinced that this is the right way to go about it. Only until you're not with me anymore do you realize that that was the wrong move. And on multiple occasions, you've basically shown him that I am not in control of myself. In fact, you are so powerful that you can convince me to do things that I don't want to do. Okay? So what that does in his mind is, oh, okay, so then I don't need to respect you. I also don't need to respect your boundaries, because when you tell me something is a boundary and you tell me you're not going to do it anymore to respect yourself, you'll be convinced by me to still do it because I am that persuasive and that powerful. So you're setting that precedent. Actually, you've done it multiple times now. One weekend, he went out camping, and once I came over, he told me he was too tired to do anything and just wanted to chill at home and watch something. See, exactly like I said. That didn't really make me feel good, especially because I drive to his place and had to get ready. So now he's realizing I do less, I still get more. So why would I do more? In fact, I'm going to actively scale back on what I was doing, and he's literally peeling back the effort. So he was showing more effort when he thought he had to. You've shown him he can show less effort, so he's continuously scratching away and inching back the effort he's been showing to the point where he'll be showing no effort at all. I told him after that hangout, I don't appreciate that, and we have to do something at least, not just hang out at home. So now he doesn't take you seriously when you say stuff like that. One of the last times I saw him, we went to the dog park to walk his dog, LOL. The last time I saw him was 1 week ago, where I felt kind of used, pineapple-y and unappreciated by the fact that the dates are so low effort. See what happens? I feel like I exist for his convenience, and I feel like he hasn't proved anything or put in any work to be with me. Do you see what happens when you give guys that you like exceptions? And I want this to be a lesson to all of you. Don't make any exceptions, especially for the guys you like. You will only end up getting treated like this. He went to another state for a business trip, and I haven't contacted him at all since then. It's been 1 week, and he's been texting and calling me, wondering where I am, but I have been ignoring him, and I haven't picked up his calls or texted him back. The reason I'm here asking this question is because our values do align. Really? For what we want in the future, and I do want to see if we can make this work long term. So basically, in so many words, what's happened here is you become attached to the idea that the person you end up with has to be him. So despite the fact that he's not treating you accordingly to how you expect to be treated in a relationship, you feel like it's necessary to be with him specifically. So you don't care about the fact he's not treating you how you expect to be treated. You just want to figure out how you can make this work with him. Okay? Even if it's not what you want. But I know we started off on the wrong foot. However, he is extremely emotionally invested into me. Is that what you think? And chasing me. Is that what you think? He's chasing you by asking you to come over to his house. You walk his dog and then he sleeps with you. That's chasing you? I know that me not picking up his calls and texts is killing him right now. Is it? Or is it killing him that he might not be able to sleep with you anymore? He's also told me things about himself he's never told anyone besides his therapist. He told me I fully see him and understand him. Okay, if that's the case, why doesn't he take you out for more than just, sitting in his house and chilling? I know I am feeling that unmet void within him that no one else can fill. I would like your advice on what I should do from here. It's been 1 week of ignoring him. I plan to make him miss me as per your video and ignore him fully for 1 month. Is that the right course of action? And if so, how would I tell him what I need to prove his worth to be with me? And any additional advice on how to move forward would be appreciated. P.S. Before he left for the trip, we set up a day to hang out, which was supposed to be tomorrow, but I'm planning on ignoring him, ignoring that plan as well with no response. Okay, Matcha, my advice to you, very direct, very straightforward. I want you to listen to this very carefully. My advice to you, you don't contact him or speak to him until he comes out of his mouth and says, hey, I want us to... Either I want us to become more serious or I want to take you out on some sort of date. If he says, I want to see you, and then you ask him, okay, so what do you want to do? And he says, come over to my place, ignore him again. I want you to not answer him until he makes it clear that he wants to make a plan with you to see you. So you give him an opportunity by asking him, okay, so what do you want to do? And then when he says to you, I want you to come over to my house and walk my dog again or eat spaghetti at my place, you don't respond. I don't want you to say, I'm not doing that. Just don't respond and ignore him. No matter how much he spams you or calls you after that, ignore him. What's going to happen is he's going to start to build. He's smart. He's not stupid, right? If he has any emotional intelligence at all, he'll be able to understand this. He's going to realize, oh, anytime I ask her to just come over to my house as if like it's whatever, she doesn't respond to me. If I say I want to see her though, she does respond to me. So he's going to think to himself, okay, maybe I should ask to see her, but not just say, come over to my house. Then when he does that, then you say, okay, yeah, if you want to, yeah, if he says, okay, can we go out to eat somewhere or go out for a picnic? I want to do something nice for us and da da da. Then you respond, you go out for the day. What's going to happen is he's going to begin to understand, oh, if I ask for some sort of super low quality hangout, she's not going to respond. But if I ask for us to go out somewhere or do something, or you know what I mean, show some sort of effort, then she's actually down for it. And he's going to start to build that mindset in his mind without you having to say anything. Maya says it's beyond training. But that's kind of what it is, right? You're training him without telling him what you expect from him, but you're showing him what you expect from him by showing him the only way he's going to get access to you, right? So keep ignoring him for this month, because honestly, like him on this business trip, like you're not going to be able to plan anything anyways. So when he comes back from this business trip, that's when he's going to be the most desperate to see you, and he's going to feel the most anxiety. He doesn't really feel this anxiety right now because he's on the business trip. When he's back in the city and now it's like now he has time to be able to see you, that's when he's going to feel that anxiety. So when he asks to see you, that's when I want you to respond. He's going to be all like, oh, please, I want to see you right now. Can I see you right now? And then you say, cool. What do you want to do? Look, put the ball in his court. You don't say anything else but that. And then when he says what he wants to do, if he says, oh, I want to, us to chill at home and eat spaghetti again for canned noodles, ramen noodles, you don't respond and leave it there. And if he continues to just do that over and over again, only ask to see you and for you to come over to his house, just don't respond to him ever again. Okay. And if he's not prepared to do anything more than that, then he wasn't even prepared to build a real relationship with you anyways. That's the honest truth. Okay. Next we have here, let's see. So we did Matcha. Next we have Frida. Okay. Thank you, Frida, for sending your confirmation. I actually appreciate when you guys do that because it makes it easier for me. So Frida says, what should I do? I started dating a guy in April, but ghosted him for a month due to personal issues. Okay. We reconnected around my birthday in May. He's been very thoughtful with creative dates. Okay. We slept together. He visited with a gift. Kind of regret it because I'm usually the wait until a relationship type. April, May, June, July, August. Well, you're 1 month, so May, June, July. Okay. How soon did you guys sleep together? And our connection felt strong, both pineapple-y and emotionally. We went a month without pineapples again, but after a game night, we did it again. And I found out I was pregnant the next day from the first time we did it. Okay. This took a real turn. You didn't mention how old you are, but you said game night. I'm assuming you're in your 20s, maybe early 30s. Okay. He was very supportive, but this isn't your boyfriend though. This is like literally a guy that you've been on and off with. He was very supportive, rushed over to check on me, and took me to the hospital because I didn't want to keep it, paying for everything and taking care of me. He's a good person, but I'm unsure if he's the right guy for me. I wish you would have gotten that answer before sleeping with him, though. He's very active with his clothing business. Therefore, he goes out a lot. He's 23. So these are the type of things you have to analyze when before you're making the decision of like allowing him to sleep with you. You know what I mean? Not to say that you're a horrible person, but like I always say, there's an order of operations. You can't sleep with the guy and then be analyzing if he's the right person to be in a relationship with afterwards. And I'm not sure I'm attracted to someone who always is on the go because I love getting attention from my partner without asking. Part of the things you should have been asking yourself if this is the type of guy I even want before sleeping with him. Our communication is rocky, and he often blames me for it because I'm hesitant to get involved. 4 days ago, I ghosted him for 2 days because it felt like we were getting too close and I was catching feelings. When he called me the third day we spoke, he didn't ask why I ghosted him, just checked if I was okay. I was at work, so I told him I would call him back. After that, he didn't answer my call. Am I in the wrong, or is he should I pursue this relationship and see where it goes, or should I cut it off? I don't think that anything you said here was like, okay, this is one of the things that I notice when you guys send me in messages. Frida, I know you sent in this message and you just sent it in with your heart, but like, aside from you saying he's a good person, what does that really mean? Everything else you said here was a whole bunch of reasons why this relationship isn't working out and he's not who you're looking for. Like, I wish that some of you would actually like put down a pros and a cons list to the person you're dating and who you're spending your time with so that you can actually see how much longer the list is of the things you don't like about the person and how the relationship is not working out and how little you have of what it is working for you. He's a good person doesn't even mean anything. Like, that literally means nothing. I don't even know what you're talking about. All the rest of this is super detailed and super specific. And it's like all of the reasons why you're telling me that this is not the guy you're looking for. So it's like, in the weirdest way, you ask me a question, but you literally answered the question for yourself. You told me all the reasons that you should cut it off because you explained to me in detail why he's not what you're looking for. So then the question to me for you is, for what reason would you continue this relationship? Why? Or it's not, I keep calling it a relationship. This situationship. Why? He goes out, like you said. He's 23, like you said. Your communication is rocky, like you said. You guys barely talk sometimes and things get weird. He doesn't call you back. He doesn't really put in a lot of effort. He's got a clothing business, so he's on the go. I know that you're asking me a question, but you're answering your own question. And that's the answer to your question. Like, these are all the reasons, reread them back, why you should cut him off. Because like I always tell you, you need to be thinking about, what am I looking for in a relationship and in a man? What are the criteria? What are the character traits? What is the personality? What do I want the relationship to look like? Once you answer that for yourself, your life becomes very easy, because any guy that you date after that, it either only fits in that criteria or they don't. So the answer for you is either yes, you're who I'm looking for, or the answer is no, you're not who I'm looking for. I know when I say it, I make it sound very easy, but that's actually how simple your life becomes when you start thinking like that. And the problem is, and Frida, the problem that you're facing is you're unsure about what you want. So you can't easily see that you're describing all the reasons why this isn't the relationship that you want. And see, if you were thinking in your mind, I'm dating people to see if they're what I want, your life would become very easy, because the answer to this question is, he's not what I want, so I'm not going to spend any of my time and energy on him. Okay? And that's what the answer to your question should be. So to put it simply, yes, you should cut him off. And the reason is all of the things that you have here that I've just highlighted. Those are all the reasons, okay? Because if you shouldn't cut him off and you should pursue a relationship, you would be able to give me supportive reasons past he's a good person. This is like the pro that you gave, and these are all the cons. I'd only advise you to pursue a relationship if you had more than just he's a good person. Okay? So next we have here, let's see, Morella. Okay, let me just verify Morella's here. Okay, perfect. How do I regain my dignity and sense of self-worth? Mariella says, hello, Tom. Hello, human. So I've been limerent, which is next level infatuation with a man. He is 33 years old. I'm 25, that I met in October of 2023. I met him at a bar. Nice. While I was drunk. Nice. He asked me if I was okay. Wow. You were that drunk. At the time, I was separated, trying to get out of a marriage, but still legally in one at the time. Nice. My marriage lasted 3 years. That was the most healthy. Wait, what? That wasn't the most healthy, where my emotional needs were neglected for almost the entirety of the marriage. And my ex-husband, who was 28, also had a gambling addiction. So I appreciated the guy from the bar being caring. I hate to sound morbid, but like, don't think that he cares about you more than he cares about the possibility of sleeping with a drunk girl that night. I just have to be honest with you. He doesn't really know you enough to care about you. Okay? At that time. I have to always be real with you guys. I found him very interesting, mostly by the way he presented himself with care and attention to details. Why are you saying this like you weren't extremely drunk at a bar? Not to say that your perspective is completely a lie and wrong, but like, you were pissed drunk. Like, if you're so drunk that someone has to ask you if you're okay, like a stranger has to ask you if you're okay, you're really drunk. So I say that to say, you're saying that he cares and has attention to detail as if like the reason he approached you at the bar when you were looking pissed drunk wasn't because he thought maybe he could take advantage of the fact you were pissed drunk. Not saying that he's a horrible person or he would do anything like that, but I just want you to understand like this idea that you're building in your mind that he's like the most kindest, caring person ever, and that's why he approached you, because he has such care for you and attention to detail. Like, you're building a Disney princess fantasy in your mind. And let's not jump to conclusions as if that's the reason that he approached you. Okay? Just have to be real. As well as how well-mannered he was. Again, how would you even recognize this when you're that drunk? Okay? I initiated contact with him after our first encounter. So after meeting him at the bar, pissed drunk. And then he showed his interest in how he would ask to see me regularly. Then within 2 weeks of us seeing each other, I opened up about my personal life. So now you met him at a bar, pissed drunk. Now you're going to trauma dump on him. So 2 back-to-back horrible decisions. We had been, wait, what? We had already been intimate at this point. Oh my God. Every time I hear stuff like that, I'm going to need to take a stretch. Let me just take a stretch. Because when I hear stuff like this, I need to take a lap. Because when I hear stuff like this, I just, I don't want to freak out. And because I don't want to freak out, I have to like take a lap, take a stretch. Because what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing, Marilla? You met him at a bar pissed drunk. Already horrible for your perception. Okay? If he has to ask you if you're okay, you're too drunk. Way too drunk. Then you trauma dump on him. This is within the first 2 weeks of us seeing each other, right? Like you said. Before that 2 weeks is even there, you've already slept with him. So let's just go ahead and make an assumption. Obviously, this is an assumption. Basically, the next time you saw him after meeting him at the bar pissed drunk, you slept with him. Or you're implying that you slept with him the night of. You didn't make it clear, but clearly it's within 2 weeks. So within the first couple of meetings, right? And probably the second one, if not the first one. So first time he meets you, you're pissed drunk. Second time he meets you, you sleep with him. Where do you expect his respect for you to go from here? You were a lonely, pissed drunk girl at the bar when he met you, and then immediately after that, he slept with you. Do you think that that screams wifey material? I don't want to attack you, Marilla, but I just want you to step outside of yourself and look at how you're projecting outwardly to other people. It's very important because when you become confused why people treat you a certain way, right? You'll really not understand how to not get that same treatment if you don't understand how your perception outwardly. So you slept with him, and immediately after sleeping with him, now you're trauma dumping on him. Okay. Issues with my family. I spend my entire life trying to disassociate myself from them because of how dysfunctional they are and because of life choices of some of my siblings have made that really don't align with my personal values. One of them committed crimes and went to jail because of this. I'm not saying that your life is irrelevant and that you shouldn't want to talk about it, but like this is stuff that you share with your girlfriends of like years and decades, not stuff that you share with strangers that you just met. Okay? You have no idea what this guy's intentions are, and you're giving him your deepest, most intimate secrets of yourself and your life. You need girlfriends for that, right? To be able to spill that on. This shouldn't be getting dumped on the new guy that you met at a bar. And because they're always mistreating me, I had to accept that it would never change. What purpose is this for giving him this information? So after sharing that information with him, pretty much trauma dumping, like I just said, I asked him if this was going to change anything between us. Why are you doing everything wrong? You trauma dumped on him and basically asked him, does this make me less attractive that I'm trauma dumping on you? Yeah, it does. It does. And you probably knew that, which is why you asked that. But then why did you do that? And he said, yes. Oh my God. I got to do 24-hour streams for you guys. He said yes. So he didn't even bother lying to you. Because he could never date someone that has criminals as siblings, and especially since he has a son. For some reason, I just couldn't accept that. Wow. Marilla, this is getting very dangerous. I feel like you're going to turn into a crazy pick-me Chanel. Oh, God. Marilla, I do not like when you say I couldn't accept that. This is getting very dangerous now. I was very hurt by this and told him how could he dismiss me for something that I had absolutely no control over. Once again, this is a stranger. You're making the assumption that a stranger actually cares about you. Like I said at the beginning, it wasn't to be mean to you, and it wasn't to tell you that you're not worth anything. But when you started saying things like, oh my gosh, when I met him at the bar, I found him very interesting because he presented himself with care and attention to details. And this is why I say, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but you're fooling yourself thinking that a stranger who meets you at a bar when you're pissed drunk actually cares about you. He cares about himself and how you can serve him in that moment. He sees that you're pissed drunk and he thinks that you're someone who he can easily take advantage of. So he pretends to care so that he can take advantage of you. It's not about you. But you want to believe in this Disney princess story that he was your white knight coming to save you and take you off to a land far, far away. This is why the Disney princess mindset can become very dangerous and detrimental to you. This is not your Disney princess movie. This is just a guy who's horned up and wants to jackrabbit himself in the easiest possible woman he can get access to. And at that point, at that night, in that bar, you seem to be the easiest woman to get access to you. So he pretended to care to get access to you. You then began to trauma dump on a man who was pretending to care about you. Then you became shocked at the fact that he does not actually care about you. So I'm trying to help you understand. He never did. I went down a spiral of trying to convince him I was worthy and that it was not going to affect him at all. So you've done like almost a lot of stuff that I talked about today you should never do. You just became a begging Betty because that guy basically said, I don't want you. And you began begging him to want you and want to be with you. And like I just said, it never works out for you. So this should be a clear example, because so for the people that say, Tomisin, you have no idea what you're talking about. A lot of times we hop into the Discord and exactly the points that I gave in the topic that we discussed that day, we end up seeing examples of them in the Discord questions. So this is a clear example. When you're a begging Betty, he don't want you. Not even a little bit. From that point on, the signs of limerence started to show and he completely switched up on me. I settled for being his friend with benefits. Wow. I realize this is a horror story. I didn't realize that at the beginning. This is a horror story. Even though this is not something I want or ever wanted with someone. So now you've attached yourself to the idea that I have to be with you, and you've literally allowed yourself to do something you never wanted to do and don't feel like is representative of the type of relationship that you want, simply because you want to make it work with him. Horrible this is. This is going to only go downhill. After me opening up, he wasn't as attentionate, that's not even a word. He didn't give you as much attention and was extremely arrogant and disrespectful. Like I told you earlier, before I even read this, he never cared. Okay, so all the Disney princess themes that you thought was happening when he came to you at a bar pissed drunk, he never actually cared about you, okay? I realized he was extremely narcissistic and he would get easily angry over trivial issues, things that you would have noticed if you took any time to get to know him instead of assuming he's your Prince Charming when he met you at a bar. He was extremely mean towards me, but I still would go back to him again and again and again. I was in severe, not to mention, this is all happening like right after in the process of you getting separated from an old man. Okay. I don't want you guys to forget this because this is actually an important part of the story, right? She met him in October 23rd, 23. And at the time she met him, she was at the time separated, trying to get out of a marriage, but still legally in one. Okay. So this is not even happening as a single woman. Okay. Narcissistic. He was extremely mean towards me, but I was still going back with him again and again and again. I was in a severe diagnosed depression and on a school and work leave because of it. So not only are you depressed, but now you have nothing going on in your life except for this guy. So literally your entire world and the only thing that brings you any sort of happiness is this guy. Even worse. At this point, I really didn't want to leave because you have nothing now. You've actually stripped yourself of everything you had in your life. No family now. I don't hear you talking about any friends. You're getting divorced now, right? So you've literally, no work, like you said, and no school. You've literally stripped yourself of anything else in your life except for this guy. You have done that to yourself. So you've made it even that much more harder to walk away from him because he's your entire life. If he's not with you, you have literally nothing. Do you see why that's so dangerous? I would have had panic attacks and I would feel somehow a little bit more regulated being in his arms. Exactly what I just described. You feel like you have nothing outside of him because you've stripped yourself of everything in your life except for him. Usually a super narcissist will purposely isolate you. You've actually done the job for him of isolating yourself so that you literally have nothing else to turn to except for him. He was like my tranquilizer. Dealing with my divorce and the fact that I had to cut off my entire family of origin, the legal accusations that could affect me in major ways because I'm a law student. Wow. So you had some good stuff going for you. You stripped yourself of it. You also isolated yourself from your family. And of course, you're going through a divorce. So you, like I said before, you took away everything you had going for you so that you had nothing but him. It was just a lot. At first, I was so disappointed and ashamed in myself that I didn't share this with anyone, not even my therapist that I had been seeing for the past 10 years. Wow. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen something like this. You've actually made it so that you can only go to him for anything. Wow. And I'm not saying I want to acknowledge the fact that you are hurt and acknowledge that it is painful, the position that you are in. But I do have to be honest with you. You did a lot for yourself that was detrimental to yourself by taking away any bright spot in your life that could have brought you any sort of like feeling that you're a functional whole human being. Like, you took away all of that from yourself. I understand the family situation out of your control and the divorce out of your control. I mean, the relationship ended, but like, not purposely, like you haven't mentioned any friends, and you're also not talking to your therapist about any of the stuff going on with you. You've literally now you have no school anymore, right? You said you kind of like let go of that or whatever it may be. Maybe you just took a break, and no work now. So nothing. You literally went ahead and taken away everything that you could have turned to except for this man. Deep down, I would feed this idea that I would end up with him, and this despite knowing how arrogant he is, that he didn't want me, and despite knowing that there's hardly any chance that this might work. Wow. Because ultimately, I don't feel like we're compatible. So once again, if you were to start thinking of what you want and what works for you, and you were to be just honest with that, you would come to the very simple realization that this relationship is not what you're looking for. And you would immediately cut yourself away from that. But because you're not thinking about what you want, you're only thinking about if a guy likes you or wants you, you're just sitting in this limbo state with the guy that doesn't even want you. I'm still seeing him now. Wow. I hope you're giving her advice so that she can see it's not just me, but what we all advise for you to do. I'm still seeing him now, maybe at least twice a week. I'm aware, but helpless, sorry. Helpless and hopeless, to be honest. I don't have any support system or close friends to lean on, just my therapist and doctor from time to time. I tried removing him from the pedestal that I seem to have him on, subconsciously put him on by listing a few things that I dislike about him. So these are all the things that you dislike about him. Okay. I'll just skim kind of through them. He thinks he's above people and believes that he's perfect. He's openly homophobic and anti-Semitic. Basically, his little tolerance for people who don't share his views. Very angry. He tries to belittle you. He doesn't respect single mothers, even though he's a single dad. He's average height and earnings. Okay. Recently said that he would stop talking to me if you. Oh wow, this is a nice one. He said he would stop talking to me if I didn't agree to a threesome, and I said I would think about it, even though I'm not up for it at all, just to buy time. He realized that I was bothered by it and stopped mentioning it. Nice. Lately, I've tried by many to move on, and unfortunately, I just went down a spiral. My classmates told me I should meet new people, so I was trying to go out more. I installed Hinge. Honestly, in this situation, I would actually say do it. Because anything you can do to like wean yourself off of this guy would be beneficial to you. So in this desperate place that you are, Hinge is honestly better than being with the guy. Truthfully. Okay. We got to pick our battles here. And honestly, you need something to turn your attention to, because it seems like you can't even be alone. You'll lose your mind. It was my first time ever on dating apps because I always believed that they are trash and most of those men are just horned up. They are, but honestly, the situation that you're in, I know what the right thing to do is, but I also know based on how you're sending me a message, there's a lot of stuff that you would just never do. So me advising you to actually take some time for yourself, you just won't do that. You'll just end up turning back to him. So honestly, in a situation like you're in, I'd say Hinge is better than nothing. I went on a couple of dates. It felt good because some of them would invite me to nice places and be decent and kind. I slept with a few of them. Okay, I didn't say to do that. I did not say to do that. I did not say to do that. Like, oh my God, man. I've come to the realization that I actually do need to start doing something like 24-hour streams, because I don't understand how you could listen to me for any period of time and actually, oh my God. You're not even able to work through the feelings with this last guy. you went on Hinge, and I was just thinking, Hinge might be a good idea for you. You know what? I'll never do that again. I'll never make that mistake again of advising to something that I know won't work. Because I was thinking maybe Hinge might be good for you to go out and like just start going out and seeing what else is out there for you so you can wean yourself off this guy. And I made the mistake of advising that to you, not realizing that you're not even you can't control yourself. You don't have the self-control or the willpower to like even be dating people the right way. And that was my mistake for even recommending that to you. I should have anticipated this, actually. That's my mistake. Because it's clear to me you don't have any sort of self-control or self-respect. So me advising you to go out on more dates is only going to make this whole situation worse. Okay, and it did. Because you're not just saying you slept with one new guy. You slept with a few of these guys that you met on Hinge. So we've now increased the severity of the depression and the anxiety and the low self-esteem. We've increased all of that by tenfold by not just making you feel devalued by one guy, but making you feel devalued and unappreciated by multiple guys at the same time. And would get tested every time after because I wasn't practicing safe pineapples. Yeah, like that's like the cherry on top. Awesome. I had no regard for my life or my dignity. During that time, I wasn't seeing him much, but still felt terrible because I knew we agreed to be pineapple-y exclusive and that it was dangerous and unfair for me to cross the line. Okay. For some reason, I was just feeling empty. Yeah, because sleeping with random people who don't care about you is going to make you feel empty. And didn't feel any guilt at first because of how bad he had been treating me for the past few months. What? Do you think feeling empty is a better feeling? Plus, I hated myself because I allowed him to. So because you hated yourself for allowing him to use you, you allowed other guys to use you. I was more distant while seeing other men and going out a lot. But now you're just masking. Oh God, I take back everything I said about Hinge being a good idea. For you, it's a horrible idea. The worst idea. Please delete Hinge. Because you've literally taken what all the things and feelings you had for him and you've gone to project that onto multiple guys now. And now you're like you're cycling through them. So at least it was one guy hurting you and lowering your self-esteem. Now you've actually made it a lot worse by getting multiple guys to ruin your self-esteem and use you and take advantage of you, which is just even worse. I thought your situation was already at its worst, which is why I said to myself, it can't get any worse than that. And then I realized you actually found a way to make it worse, which is why I'm saying, please stop what you're doing, because you're like a magician figuring out how to make each situation worse than it was before. So please get off the dating app, please. I would not reach out, and he probably noticed because he became the kindest he has ever been since October when I first met him. So now you're rethinking about going back to him now. Okay, wow. He would be extremely affectionate, would reach out to ask how I was and giving me compliments, which before that he would barely do it. He would do everything he knows that I like, and it's not hard to figure out that I lack love and affection. Okay. I really need to convince myself that I can do better. I know it, but I'm still not ready to walk away, and it's hurting me and my self-worth every day. I'm still recovering from severe diagnosed depression. Are you talking to your therapist about any of this? But you could be as direct as you want. I am going to be, because I think you need it. You need a splash of cold water here. I feel helpless. I feel like helpless drug addicts. I gave myself until August 26th to stop seeing him since uni is starting for me. Last part, thanks for bearing with me. I really need to convince myself that I can do better. I know it. Chat, please be helping her as well. Please be helping her as well. I want you guys to be spamming it so that she can see what you all think as women as well. I know it, but I'm still not ready to walk away, and it's hurting me and my self-worth every day. You said you gave yourself until August 26th. You kind of copy and paste that. I want to regain my self-respect. I landed an amazing law student job, and I'm not so far from graduating and doing the bar exam. How are you even possibly doing this while being in this such sort of state? I tried a lot of healthy things to move on, and like going back to therapy since January, back to uni, found a job, started to learn to drive, learning Spanish in my spare time. But in my moment of weakness, when I feel so empty and alone, living by myself doesn't help. I always end up reaching out to him, being his doormat, pineapple toy, and ego booster is damaging me. Even if I wanted, convince myself that it was nothing because of how terrible my family had treated me. Wow. Any advice is welcome. I'm trying to get better. I have codependency issues, if that wasn't obvious. Yes, it was. Okay. So, my advice to you, Marilla. Okay. I want to make this simple for you so you don't feel like it's so overcomplicated that you can't follow the advice. First things first, delete Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, or any other dating app on your phone. Okay? Very simple. That's number one. Step number two, I want you also delete Facebook, Instagram, any sort of app, TikTok, anything that you would be able to start reaching out and chatting with boys. I want you to delete that, because the truth of the matter is, if you can't do it on Hinge, you're going to start doing it on Instagram. If you can't do it on Instagram, you're going to start doing it on Facebook. You're going to find a way to start chit chatting with boys. So I want you to get rid of all the, you need a detox. You really do. I want you to get rid of all the social media apps. I want you to get of all of the dating apps, all of them. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to get your notebook out and I want you to start writing. Okay. For you in the specific situation that you're in, I want you to actually write multiple things. I want you to write about this guy that you've been in a relationship with, everything that's happened in your relationship. But I also want you to write about your family situations and everything that's happened in your family situations. Because one of the things that you mentioned down here, I don't know if I can find it, but you mentioned that essentially part of the reason that you think that you should be just getting treated like this is, here it is you convinced yourself that it's nothing because of how your family treated you. So actually, a function of why you're continuously going back to this guy and allowing him to mistreat you is because you're of the belief that this is what you deserve based on what you've experienced in your family relationships. So while you're writing about this relationship, I actually want you to also write about everything you've experienced in your family relationships, right? And I want you to write them on separate pieces of paper. This is very important because when you write both of those things down, I actually want you to start reading. When you read them out loud, because you're going to have to read them out loud, you're probably going to write a book, the amount that you need to be writing. And I want you to I want you to actually start seeing what the connections are between what you wrote about your family and how they've treated you and what you wrote about this guy and how he's treated you. And I want you to start making connections between how have you been treated in your family relationships and how have you been treated in your relationship with this guy? Okay? The reason I want you to start making that connection is because I want you to understand a function of what you've been experiencing with him is trying to recreate or mirror the relationships that you've had with your family members. Because that's what you begin to understand as, okay, well, that's what love is supposed to be like. It's supposed to be that toxic. It's supposed to be that draining. It's supposed to be that, make me feel this way, right? And you've convinced yourself that that's how it should be. But I want you to actually see it by writing it down on a paper so you can recognize how they're so similar. Now, the next thing I want you to do after that, after you read that, write that out, because you're going to be writing for a damn long time. Okay, is like I said, I want you to read it out and I want you to make those connections. Then the next thing I want you to write out after you've made those connections is I want you to write out. Now, this is very important for you and specific to you. I want you to write out everything in a relationship that you don't want. Okay. Because for some of you, I know, and this is kind of the position that you're in, Marilla, you're in a position where you are so unaware of what you want. Me asking you to start writing about what you want, you won't know what to write. Instead, I want you to write based on, because I told you to write them in order. You write down the relationship with the guy, then you write down the relationship with your family members. Now that you have those two pieces of articles, right, written down, now I want you to take from those two things, right, those two things in your life, And I want you to make a list of, in your romantic relationship, what are all the character traits, personality traits, and relationship things that you don't want. And I want you to write down every single one of those things. Okay? Every single one. Okay? Now that you write every single one of those things, the decision becomes yours. So you get to decide. After you've written down all those things, I'm sure it'll be easy to identify that this guy that you're talking to is not all of those things. But the truth of the matter is that my power and my advice stops there. Because once you have those things written down, and once you have those things very clear to you, this then becomes your choice. And I hate to say this to you because I know this is the scariest part when I say the rest of this is on you. Because the reality of it is, no matter how much I want something for you, or I want you to get better, or I want you to escape this situation, the only person in control is you. Your life, and this is the reality you need to come to, your life will never get better until you make a choice to make it better. It's the simplest advice you'll ever get, but it's the only advice that will actually help you. Because everything that you're asking me, you want a magic potion that I can give to you that will be the solution to all your problems. That will help you stop having to think about it, help you stop having to address it, help you just be able to, have the superpower to be able to not be on the sky or not go back to the sky. But the reality of it is nobody can make your life better except for you. And until you actively make the choice to say, I actually deserve better than everything I wrote down on this paper that I've been experiencing with him, you will never actually get better. You're in a position where you're so far in the deep end. You're looking for someone to give you a magic potion or a magic pill that will solve all your problems. I'm sorry. And other people might not tell you this because they want you to believe in whatever they have to say. But I cannot give you a magic potion or a magic pill that will actually help you make the best choice for your own life. You actually at some point have to stand up for yourself and realize that you deserve better and make the choice to be better. Nobody can do that for you. Not your mom, not your sister, not your brother, your aunt, not your best friend, nobody. So the reality of it is, my advice stops with you writing things down, speaking them out loud, being able to make the connections and the comparison and identify what you don't want. After that, the choice becomes yours, whether or not you want to continue living a life of disappointment, depression, being unhappy in your situation, in your life, and in your romantic relationships, right? Or if you actually want to make a change and see something different. The choice is yours. You can either continue to be miserable or you can actually start making changes to be happy. And of course, you know that the first decision that you have to make is to stop talking to this guy and block him on everything. But the reality of it is, I can't want that for you. Nobody in the chat can want that for you. None of your friends can want that for you. The only person that can really actually want that for you that matters is you. Okay? And that's honestly my advice to you. The decision, it becomes yours after that. Next year we have, let's see, let me do, so these are from a few days ago. Don't worry, I'm gonna do a couple of these free ones so that the free people can also get some, because I did quite a few of, actually, let me see how long we can, I don't think Weekend Getaways that long. Okay, yeah, we'll do Weekend Getaway and then I'll do some of the free ones. I told you we gonna go long today. We gonna go like 3 hours today. Weekend Getaway. AM says, hi, Tomisin. Oh, by the way, guys, if you want to send in your question, you definitely can. Just go, if you want to donate to Premium, you definitely can. Just go into the link in my bio. You go to donate where it says Premium question, put in your username, and you put in the title of your question, and you donate to the show, and you can ask your question in Relationship Advice Premium. So feel free to do that as well. Weekend Getaway AM says, hi, I'm 22, kind of rekindled things with a man, 25, on an ongoing now for 3 years. I've made it clear to him that I don't want this unless things are more fun. What do you mean by more fun? I'm okay with my own space and no pineapple relations if that's not what I want. Wait, what? Our most recent time together was this past Sunday. He knows I've come back from celebrating the 4th of July, you think, in DC. He had brought up a trip he has in October to Arizona. But by the evening over dinner, he asked if I would like to go with him. He's in a position where he's going to be leaving his company soon due to layoffs, but he should be okay financially as he owns a house and is looking towards buying another in a year. He's not worried about going on vacation, and he's still well off, but I don't know how much he's willing to cover for the trip, if anything. He doesn't seem too generous to so in my head he surprised me by asking me to come with. Also, I know closed mouths don't get fed. I can handle my own finances as I did in DC, but I've never traveled with a man before. Should I bring any of this up? If so, how? Thoughts, please. Okay. Okay, so a couple of things here. One, I'm not sure what this is. It doesn't sound like a relationship. You said you rekindled, and ongoing now for 3 years doesn't say relationship for 3 years. It just says ongoing. So that makes me feel like this is really kind of a friends with benefits kind of situation where it just kind of has happened sometimes and then it's off for sometimes. You said you're okay with your own space. All right. So basically what you're saying is he's not your boyfriend and there is no real clear path to him being your boyfriend. It's just been an ongoing thing. Honestly, truthfully, to be like really super real with you, I would overall advise you to not go out on this trip with him. I don't think that if you guys living in the same place or in a similar area or whatever, he's not inspired enough to like want to take your relationship to the next level in 3 years. I don't think that it would be beneficial to go out on a trip with him and spend your money for no reason. You understand what I'm saying? You're only going to feel more attached to him and feel like you want this to work more than just not going. Okay. I know that's a little bit disappointing, but like, why is he asking you to go out on a trip with him before he's actually saying that he wants to date you? And it's been 3 years. So he wants you to go out on a trip with him, but he doesn't want to make you his girlfriend. It's just like, how does that work? How does that make sense? Okay. So my answer, Lydia says, Lida says you skip mine. Let me go back to yours. I'll make sure I go back to that. So to answer your question, I just don't think that this really serves you to go with him. I think first you should establish what your relationship is, because I also want to ask you, why are you going on a trip with a man who you don't care to make your boyfriend or to have as a boyfriend? For fun? Why are you wasting your time with fun? Why not go on trips with guys you're actually going to end up with? I know that you're young and I know that, you're not thinking about it that deep, but like, what's the point? It's been 3 years. He's clearly shown that he doesn't really want to take it that seriously, or else he would have made you his girlfriend by this time. Why go out on a trip with this man? And to be honest with you, it doesn't sound like he's going to spend his money on you. Okay. Based on how you're talking, if he hasn't made it explicitly clear he's going to pay for stuff, it doesn't sound like he's going to spend his money on you. It looks like you updated this like in the moment right now. So yeah, this is friends with benefits. Yeah. I don't think that he's going to spend his money on you. So why would you spend your money to go out on a trip with him when he's not going to pay for it and you guys aren't planning to be in a long-term serious relationship? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. Next we have here, sorry, because I skipped it. Let me make sure that I do Lydia's. Why did it do that? Okay, let's see here. Oh, yours is really, really long. Okay, Lydia, I am going to do a relationship advice thing tomorrow as well. That was a surprise to you guys. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to be here on Saturday tomorrow as well. So don't worry. Lida? I'm going to do yours tomorrow only because, not because I don't like you, only because yours is really, really, really long. And I don't want to take up the rest of this time by not answering anyone else's question in the free section. So don't worry, your question is going to get answered tomorrow on Saturday. I'm going to be here tomorrow on Saturday. All right. I'm just going to do a few more free ones, and then that'll be the day for today. Okay. So let's see here down here where it says, wow, so much scrolling. By the way, guys, this is why people are doing premium, because they see how much we have questions we have in the chat, and they see that it's going to be kind of hard to get your question answered soon if you're in the free version. Okay, so that's why people are doing premium. All right, so let's see. We have Lima here. So Lima says, how to discuss virginity with a new partner. Hey, Tomisin, I hope you're doing well. I met a guy a month ago. He's 28 and has a 4-year-old child. Everything is going great, really great even. It's always going great at the very beginning. It's never bad at the beginning. During this month, we've been on several dates, and he hasn't hinted at pineapples, okay? Though we do flirt occasionally, we never kissed. I only give him smack kisses. What is that? Like this? And he seems frustrated. He has distanced himself, thinking that I don't like him, but I told him I do like him, and that even for kissing, I need a bit more time to feel comfortable. He is very understanding and told me that he would never push me to do something I didn't want to do, and that it has to be mutual. Okay. The last time we saw each other, he seemed super distant and consistently on his phone. And when I asked him questions, he gave me very vague answers like, you'll find out soon. Okay. He seemed totally disinterested. Since that day, we haven't spoken for 10 days. I didn't message him, and he didn't message me either. It was just yesterday that he sent me a message. I replied as if nothing happened. Okay. And he was surprised that I didn't seem to care much. He felt obligated to explain. I'm a bit weird. I like to disappear and stay alone at times. I just said, okay. I don't know if that's because he couldn't get anything from me, as I should also mention that I'm 23 and I have never had pineapples, because guys can be players and I don't want to sleep with a guy who might leave me the next day. I don't know what to do, Tomisin. Please enlighten me. I need your advice. Okay, Lima. I'm going to make this very simple for you. You don't need to do anything for the guys that you're dating. And I know that this sounds very simple, right? But you don't need to be in pain because a guy that you like doesn't like you because you're not giving him anything. At the end of the day, this isn't about what he wants, truthfully, because if he's pursuing you and he wants you, this is about what you want and what you're okay with. So if you're not okay with kissing him until a certain amount of time, until you guys have made this kind of like more clear and more established, that is your choice. And if he doesn't like that, he can kick rocks. Lima, I don't want you to ever be focused on whether or not the guys like you based on the standards that you have. The reality of it is the guy that you end up with, this is what your focus should be on. The guy that you end up with will be perfectly fine with the standards and expectations that you have. Any guy who is not okay with the standards and expectations that you have is simply not who you are looking for. And I need you to resign yourself to that fact and go to sleep at night dreaming and sleeping very well, knowing that the person who ends up with you will be perfectly fine with your boundaries, okay? Because the reality of it is the worst thing you can do, Lima, is to go out into your dating life and be anxious about the fact that a guy that you're talking to doesn't seem to like you or becoming disinterested in you. You sleep with him thinking that now he'll become interested in you, right? You give up your first body. And then all of a sudden, after you sleep with him, you realize then that he still becomes disinterested in you. So you wasted the body, and now you still didn't get what you want because he's still not interested in you, okay? So it's a lose-lose for you the moment you give up something, right? For a guy to try to get him interested in you, thinking that, oh, this is going to make him like me more. So my advice to you, while it might sound simplistic, is to do nothing and never, ever, ever compromise your standards or expectations for any guy. Especially, and all of you listen to me on this, especially when you like a guy, especially when you like him, do not compromise anything for him, because the moment you compromise for him, thinking that I'm doing this, I'm giving you a pass that I regularly wouldn't. The moment you do that, you're going to put yourself in a worse position, because you're going to allow him to cross boundaries that you wouldn't allow other guys to, but he's only going to respect you less for allowing him to cross those boundaries. So now you have a guy who respects you less, who you actually want to respect you and want to like you. So don't do that. Don't compromise, nothing. All right. Next we have here, let's see. Wow, so many. There's probably 100. It's why I'm doing questions tomorrow. Okay. I'll be here tomorrow for you guys at 3 p.m., but we'll talk about that again. Next we have Ella. Ella says, how to set physical boundaries in early stages of dating. Ella says, I'm 23, dating a 25-year-old man for, wait, didn't we do this one? 25-year-old, we both work, but he's recently moved to another job location. I don't do casual relationships, and I'm not interested in entertaining one. I like him to take me seriously, not as a casual hookup. The concern I have is on our second date, we made out, and I kind of wanted it to happen because the setting was so romantic, okay? Watched fireworks together. And I felt so touch-starved after being single after my long-term relationship needed. Ever since then, I pulled back and never done anything physical with him. I'd appreciate if you guys give me advice on how to go about this and how do I make it work for the goal, which is him to take me seriously and see me as relationship material. Any advices would be appreciated. Okay, Ella, my simple advice to you is don't give him anything. Now, also, I want to advise to you as well, very important. Okay, we have to be serious here. The position that you're in right now, where you're saying, I feel so touch-starved, is not good. It's not good because when you start making out with him and, he starts feeling up on you, you're going to get so riled up that you're going to start making decisions that do not put you in a position that you want to be in, right? And you're going to fall prey to temptation because you're using a gateway drug. So the gateway drug for you is making out. The more you guys make out, the better it is. The more he feels on you, the hotter it's going to be for you, the more lubricated you're going to become, and the harder it's going to be for you to say no when things begin escalating. Okay? And the reason I'm saying that is immediately when you say, I feel touch-starved, it's not a good sign, right? Because now I know that you can be broken. I know you haven't said that to him, but I know that you're falling into that place where if it goes too far, you're going to start, thinking, and your emotions are going to start becoming overwhelming and you won't be able to think straight. Okay? So what I need you to do, I know you said you've been touch starved. And I know this sounds strange, but what I need you to do is, and for any of you who are like this, I want you to go into the link in my description on YouTube, or if you want, click that link in my bio if you're on TikTok. You go to the affiliate links part, right? You find where it says the Tracy's Dog, the toys. Pick one of those toys. You get a nice discount on it for using my link. When you click that link and you pick one of those toys, get it shipped to your house and enjoy yourself with that toy. And for you specifically, Ella, I want you to use that toy before you go out with that guy. I'm actually so serious, it's not a joke. And that's why I literally seeked out the toy that would work best for all of you, so that you guys can have a toy in your vicinity that can be used to satisfy some of your hunger. Okay? And I'm so serious with that. So whether you're a penetration girl or a clit girl, this toy will do both for you at the same time. It's amazing. Don't ask me how I know. And the reason I recommended that for you is because I understand that when you go out on these dates and you haven't been touched or you haven't, you're riled up, it's going to be that much harder to have a connection with someone or share some sort of emotional intimacy where, when things get hot and heavy, you feel like you can actually control yourself still. Okay. So you need to literally rub a couple out or suck a couple out, right? In order to just have a little bit more sanity when you go out on your date. And I'm so serious about that. I know you guys all think it's funny when I bring that up, but I'm so serious. Because when you're touch starved and, you haven't, you haven't rubbed one out in a while and you have a lot of buildup in you, as soon as things start getting hot and heavy, you're going to lose your mind. And like I said, this gateway drug of you guys making out is going to be very dangerous for you, especially when you're saying that you want him to take you seriously. Okay. Because you want that now when you're, sober and it's a Tuesday afternoon and, you can actually think straight. But when it's Saturday night, you got a couple of shots in you, you're lubricated up. He's been making out with you. He's touching your dump truck. He's feeling on you. He's grabbing things. You're going to lose your mind. And I don't want that for you. And I foresee that when you're saying that you feel touch starved. So get you that toy. And I'm so serious, and rub one out or suck one out, depending on what you are, every time before you see him. And honestly, I would advise you to only make out with him in public places where things can't escalate. You understand what I'm saying? Like, do yourself a favor by not making it an option to escalate things. Okay. Because I know if you don't do this and you allow this gateway drug to continue feeding you, you're going to eventually break and fold. And that will be very bad for you. Okay. I don't want that for you. All right. Next we have here, let's see. Okay. Wow. So many. There's hundreds. Anna. Okay. So Anna says, female childhood best friend, and still friends with exes. So Anna says, hey, Tomisin, love the show. Really appreciate and respect all that you do for women like me who are just started dating. I'm 23 and the man I'm dating is 26. We've been dating for 5 months now and officially as a couple. Okay, good. Of about a month ago. Thanks to the Players Club, I'm almost certain. Oh, like you're saying that you're certain that this happened because of the Players Club. Good. He has a tendency to answer business calls while we're on dates, which is a little ick. Okay. A big thing with him, I'm not sure how to move forward with in terms of my response to him, that he has told me he has plenty of female friends, including a childhood best friend who he has gotten close to sleeping with on one occasion. They were sleeping in the same bed, but he said they both fought off the urge for the sake of not ruining the friendship and that they would never sleep together. Okay, I'll wait till I finish that to say what I'm going to say. He said he also has exes. He also has his ex's contacts on social media because he doesn't want to burn bridges. When he told me all of this, I didn't agree with any of it, and I found it disrespectful that I don't think that men and women should even be friends anymore once they have a girlfriend/boyfriend. But later I called and apologized and said I overreacted because I was awake for 48 hours and I was tired. I really could use your advice more than ever on how to move forward in a situation because I'm so torn. I really like this guy. He's the whole package, handsome, intelligent, rich. But I don't know how to navigate this with his female friends and exes. One, hopefully, maybe Delulu side of me thinks that maybe he was telling me all of this just to gauge my reaction and find out how I feel about doing these things myself and find out if it was okay to have a close friend of the opposite. Bro. Or still keep in contact with exes. Some Players Club type manipulation, if that makes sense. But another part of me is worried that he generally has all of these girls around and that he talks to all and has contacts of them all. Okay. Wow. Delusion will literally spiral you and build a narrative that is so. Okay. I'll tell you this narrative that you built in your mind that maybe he did that to try to gauge. No. 100% no. He's being honest with you. But here's the thing. And this is what I've realized about people in general and relationships in general, and just listening to people, how they will tell stories. Okay. A lot of times when people tell stories, they're always going to tell stories from the perspective that makes them look the best. So even if they're telling a story that, they kind of made some mistakes, they're going to make it seem very mutual in terms of the mistakes. And they're always going to kind of adjust the situation to not make themselves look so bad. I actually understand that when people are telling stories. So while people tell me stories, I'm able to read between the lines and anticipate what they actually mean by what they actually did, because they're going to obviously change the story to adjust for not making themselves look horrible. Okay. So what I mean by that is this story sounds really innocent in the way that he described it, which is how people usually describe stories, right? So he told the story that this is a childhood best friend. They got close to sleeping together, but think about what he just described. He said that they both fought off the urge for the sake of not ruining the friendship, that they would not sleep together. So imagine what he's actually saying. This is why I say people tell stories, but they twist the story and it doesn't even make sense the way they twist it. Think about what he's actually trying to explain to you. That what? So they slept in the bed. He was hard and she knew that he was hard, and she was also wet and she was also really ready to sleep with him. And they looked at each other and said, you know what? I'm hard. You're wet. We're both ready for this. We both want this. We both want each other. Right? But we're not going to do this because it would ruin our relationship. Then they turned back around to the other side, faced the walls, and never spoke of it again, and nothing ever came of that situation. Does that even sound like realistic to you? Does that even sound like a natural occurrence in like friendships or something that people would actually do? Or does it sound more logical that one person or the other, probably him, wanted this and wanted to be with her? He tried to make a move while they were sleeping in the bed together, and probably because she didn't want this to go any further, she said no because she didn't want this relationship to get ruined. And maybe he tried to do some convincing. He tried to talk his way out of it. He tried to get her to do it, but she was just like, nah, and she was too uncomfortable with it. And so he gave up, and then that was it. Which one sounds more realistic and logical to you? That they looked in each other's eyes and said, wow, we both want this so badly, but we're not going to affect our relationship, so let's turn around and never speak of this again? Or he tried to do it because he wanted it and she said no, and then when she said no, he tried to convince her, and then he decided that it was a waste of time trying to convince her, and he went back to being a friend. I know that you're on the younger side. When you get older, you start to recognize how people will present stories to you. And you can already anticipate how they've adjusted the story to tell it to you. Okay? It just becomes a skill set that you build after a while. I know that you haven't yet built that, so you're believing exactly what he said to you, how he said it to you. I'm here to let you in on the fact that that's not actually how the story went, okay? Well, I'll at least say it's very unlikely that's how the story went, because if they both wanted each other that much, they would just date each other. And usually, this is why I always say, this is actually why I say men and women can't be best friends, and this is all foolishness, because you have to think about the logic. If two best friends both want to be with each other equally and both want to build with each other and be in a relationship with each other equally, they would just be in a relationship. So a function of men and women being best friends really doesn't stem from them both wanting each other and saying it's better off for our friendship to just not be with each other. It's a function of one person wanting to be more than friends and the other person not wanting to be more than friends. So they stay friends because the person who wants to be more than friends doesn't not want the other person not want them to be not in their life. So rather than not having them in their life, they decide it's better off for us to just be friends so that I can keep you in my life. So that's where the friendship comes from, the best friendship, okay? And this is what I want you to understand, is that one person or the other is going to be the person who wants more than friendship, and one person is going to be the person who's saying, no, I don't want more than friendship. So if he's saying he's still in contact with her and this is his best friend and they tried it and then, they said that it wouldn't work out, but also in combination with that, he still has connections with all his exes, you can probably bank on the fact that he is the one that wanted to be more than friends and she said no. Okay, because it's clear that because he's still friends with all his exes, he finds it difficult to let women go and just completely cut them out of his life, which is why he's still friends with exes. So when he tried to be more than friends with this best friend and she said no, he thought to himself, I can't let you go, so I'd rather just be friends with you if I can't have you in that way. That seems more logical based on what you explained to me and how he is in general than this idea that, oh yeah, I just, we decided to not sleep together and, I'm casually friends with all my exes because I don't like to burn bridges. Silly. So my advice to you, Anna, don't believe that wad of BS. It's BS. Now, in terms of dealing with it, the best way to deal with it is to simply say, look, you have two options, okay? You're either, because this is your boyfriend now, so there has to be some sort of communication. You can't just disappear. He'll be too confused. He won't know what this is stemming from because this is an ongoing situation. So this one, you actually have to communicate. You have two options. Either you figure out how you're going to cut off all of these exes, right? You don't have to tell him block them. You don't have to tell him unfollow them. You figure out how you're going to cut off all these exes and you're going to cut off this best friend, or if you don't want to do that and you care too much about these exes, you'll never get access to me again. You'll never speak to me again. You'll never see me again. Those are your only two options. Let me know once you figured out which option you want and that you've actually went through the process of solving that situation, those situations and getting them done. And then you can come back and speak to me. If you have not done that, you have no access to me. Those are your only two options. And if you seriously want this to be fixed and mended for your future of your relationship, you literally have to make it that simple. Because if you don't make it that simple and you don't stand on that, this will go on forever. I can assure you. And this friend that's not a friend that they slept together, it will become a problem. And so will the exes. And the longer the relationship goes on that you don't address it, it will continue to be a problem increasingly, exponentially. So you give them one or two options. Either you cut them off completely, never speak to them again, don't have them on anything, right? Or you don't cut them off, keep them in your life, whatever you want to do, don't burn bridges, you'll just never speak to me again. Either one, and you listen, this is what you actually have to say. Either one is perfectly fine with me. I'm not upset at either one you choose. Just know you will never have access to me if you choose to be wishy-washy or be a gray area. There's no gray area for me. Either you cut it off, right? And then you'll have me. Or if you want to live in a gray area, go be in a gray area with someone else. And when he sees that you mean business and you're serious, he has to make a decision. Now, it's either he does it and cuts them off or he bees with you. Now, I'll warn you, he's going to try to negotiate with you, staying in a gray area while still having access to you. You cannot negotiate anything with this. You have to be a hard butt, however you want to call it, a drill sergeant. The moment he sees that you're trying to you're ready to negotiate, he will never actually do the thing. You have to come ready to walk away so that he knows he's going to lose out on you. To force a sense of urgency in him. That's the only way you're actually going to see a result here. Any other way aside from that consists of any gray area, this will be a problem for the rest of your relationship. All right, guys, that was the show for today. I did 3 hours. Wow, we did 3 hours. So if you were here for all 3 hours, congratulations to you. I don't think many people could stay here for all 3 hours. Thank you guys so much for being part of the show, and I appreciate you guys for joining me for all 3 hours of the show. Also, I wanted to shout out Madison, who donated $2 in the YouTube chat. I don't know if Madison's still here. Shout out to Madison if you're still here. I appreciate that, and I didn't shout you out earlier, okay? By the way, guys, I'm going to be here tomorrow as well at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit earlier. I might even go earlier than that. At 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But tomorrow, I'm only going to do Discord questions because there's so many to do. So make sure if you want to get your question answered on that Discord time, you'll definitely get it answered if you send it into premium. But obviously, you guys know you got to donate to the show if you're going to send it into premium because we're going to be answering tons and tons and tons of questions tomorrow. So make sure you send that into premium if you really want it to be answered tomorrow. And, it's first come, first serve if you do the free version as well. So you have options there as well. All right. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram because you love me so much, you want to see everything I'm doing all day, my Instagram is right up for you up there on the top left of the screen. And it's right on the bottom right of the screen for you as well. And for those of you on TikTok who are trying to find access to this live stream because you came late or you missed parts of it, don't you ever worry. You will get all the access to it by going onto my YouTube page. My YouTube page is right on the top right of the screen. It's just my name. Type it in or you screenshot this and you copy and paste it and you'll be able to find my YouTube page. You go into the live section. You'll be able to find this live show along with all the live shows I've ever done in the past with the YouTube and TikTok live chat embedded in the video so you never miss any bit of conversation. All right. I will be back tomorrow. It's a special weekend edition of Just Discord questions tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So set your alarm and your clock for that. And I'll see you tomorrow where we'll talk about love, life, and relationships. Until then, adios, goodbye, arrivederci, hasta la vista, bon voyage, and I will see you again tomorrow. Back to back to back days. We never get a day off here. Never. No days off. No days off.